Chapter 121. Invitation. When Xueqi arrived at Jinhai City's business district, he wandered about and discovered customers flooding the electronics department store. He noticed several youths rushing out of the department store after much difficulty, their hands holding a God's Domain virtual gaming helmet and their expressions filled with joy and excitement. After leaving the apartment, Xueqi immediately hitched a ride to the business district in the city's center. Ha ha ha, this is just wonderful. Fortunately, I came here as early as 7 o'clock in the morning to queue up. After 3 hours of waiting, I finally got my hands on it. From today onwards, I will be fighting for my future in God's domain. The lean youth wearing a blue t-shirt laughed loudly as he grasped the helmet. Do you need me to carry you guys? I have a friend who has been playing God's domain since the game started. Right now, he is already a level 4. As long as we have him to help us, we'll definitely level quickly. If we're lucky, we might even be able to have him carry us. Another curly-haired youth proudly proclaimed. Really? Then it's a promise. Our futures will be in your hands from now on. As for your lunches at the university, we'll pay them for you. Leave it to me. He and I are close brothers. When these youths heard there was an expert willing to give them pointers and carry them, they were all incredibly excited. They fantasized about their beautiful futures. With the many global corporations fiercely investing in God's domain, in addition to the many news reports about it, the common folk all discovered a new way to make money. These large corporations would easily offer a gaming expert a high salary. So much so that, for some of the veteran and expert players, the annual salaries would reach as high as 3 million credits. This was an unimaginable figure when considering the virtual reality games of the past. Previously, those with an annual salary in the millions just from gaming were godlike players standing at the apex. Now, however, even retired experts could receive an annual salary of 3 million credits. Meanwhile, the current trending top-tier experts could receive an annual salary of up to 8 million credits. According to Xueqi's knowledge, the annual salary of the guild leader of Ouroboros did not even exceed 6 million credits, while Gentle Snow's annual salary was only 4 million credits. Of course, the snow goddess would not even pay heed to this small amount of money. She could easily obtain an income of several tens of millions just from advertisement. In addition to her family background, money was truly not a problem for her. Unlike Xueqi, who played God's domain to change his fate, fulfilling his wish that never was fulfilled, Gentle Snow's goal was purely the joy gained from stimulating adventures. Luckily, I'm not here to buy a gaming helmet. Xueqi sent a glance to the sea of people at the department store, exclaiming. He then turned towards a mobile phone store near the electronics department store. It was an inconvenience for him to continue using an old-modeled phone. Hence, Xueqi was prepared to switch to a quantum watch instead. Not only did it support communication between multiple languages, but it also supported bank account binding, allowing Xueqi to transfer credits at any given time. This way, he would neither have to always go to the bank to retrieve money nor would he have to constantly carry around a stack of cash, causing a bulge in his pockets. He could avoid showing others a bulge on his lower body, preventing an awkward situation from occurring. Immediately after Xueqi walked into the quantum watch store, a beautiful saleswoman came up to greet him. How may I help you, sir? Our store's #1 priority is quality. We have various models of mobile phones. I especially recommend the latest Quantum 3000. It has an independent binding, is water-resistant, and is definitely safe. Not only can it carry out payment in real time, but the Quantum 3000 also supports transactions from the virtual reality game, God's Domain. Alright, take me to see it then. This way, please, sir. Judging from Xueqi's tone, the beautiful saleswoman could discern that Xueqi intended to buy a quantum watch. Immediately, she respectfully brought Xueqi to the area dedicated to selling quantum watches. She then took out dozens of models. Not only were their designs beautiful, but they were also elegant-looking and convenient to use. They were all operated by a holographic screen, and even when carrying out vigorous activities, the clarity of the display and sound would not be affected in the slightest. Sir, as we are doing a promotion for God's Domain, you only need to pay 29,999 credits instead of the usual 30,000 credits to take the Quantum 3000 home. Xueqi could not help but sweat at the saleswoman's promotion. Just how was this any different from 30,000 credits? This price was practically unaffordable for the average university student if they did not possess a well-paying job, and even then, They would usually need to save up for half a year before being able to buy one. However, Xueqi was indeed in need of the latest quantum watch. After all, it would be particularly convenient for him. Although running to the bank was good training for his body, it was, after all, a very troublesome task. It was especially true when he needed to make a transaction of millions of credits. He would definitely look fishy if he carried around a large suitcase filled with money. Give me this blue one, then. Xueqi chose a good-looking model. Under the beautiful saleswoman's guidance, Xueqi carried out the bindings for his identity, original phone number, bank account, and so on. Xueqi then swiped using his new quantum watch, paying the bill for it. It was a very convenient item. Now that he had obtained a quantum watch, Xueqi went on to purchase 10 bottles of A-rank nutrient fluids and 50 bottles of B-rank nutrient fluids, spending a total of 150,000 credits for them. Although it was a heartache to spend so much money, in consideration for the future of his body, Xueqi still needed to carry out several in-depth strengthening training sessions. So, he needed to purchase this number of nutrient fluids at the very least. D. His quantum watch rang and vibrated, notifying him that his class monitor, Xueqi, was calling him. Aside from notifying him about the class assembly last time, the class beauty, Xueqi, had never once contacted him. Class monitor, is something the matter? Xueqi immediately asked. Fellow student Xueqi, must I have a purpose to call you? Or are you trying to tell me that you hate receiving calls from me? Xueqi said in a slightly downcast tone. No. How could that be possible? I still haven't thanked you for your help the last time. Hearing such a bitter tone from Xueqi, Xueqi hurriedly responded. In his heart, Xueqi was a very good girl. Not only was she smart, kind and beautiful, but she was also the only one who stood up to Ling Feilong, demanding justice for Xueqi. Her actions gave Xueqi a warm feeling. That's better. At least you still have a conscience. Xueqi laughed. The date of the fellowship party I mentioned to you the last time has been confirmed. It will be held next Friday. Every participant will be required to pay a fee of 5,000 credits. I've already paid it for you, so don't forget to show up. Finished speaking, Xueqi immediately disconnected the call. As a result, Xueqi was left dumbfounded for a long moment. Ruashi, why did you notify Xueqi? You've even paid the participation fee for him. He's not anything good, to begin with, always keeping his thoughts and emotions to himself. He must have a hidden motive. There is a wide gap between both of your statuses, and to change his own fate, he will definitely use unscrupulous means to get close to you. You better not let him trick you, Ling Feilong pretended to care about Xueqi. However, inwardly, he was close to the point of going insane with anger. A poor bastard like Xueqi actually received Xueqi's attention. She even footed the participation fee for him. Her actions revealed that she indeed possessed some interest towards him. Enough, Ling Feilong. Whoever I pay for is my own business. I don't need you to butt in on it, Xueqi said in displeasure. Ling Feilong was speechless. However, he did not dare to display his thoughts, hatred for Xueqi permeating his heart. Originally, everything had been smooth sailing for him. Yet, Xueqi's sudden appearance caused everything to run amok. Xueqi, just you wait. If I can't deal with you myself, then I'll just tell Xueqi's uncle. We'll see how he takes care of you. Ling Feilong inwardly sneered. With Xueqi's lowly status, Xueqi's uncle would definitely reject them being together. As long as he exerted a little effort, he could easily deal with a small fry like Xueqi. At 6 p.m., Xueqi returned to his rented apartment. After spending the afternoon running around, Xueqi finally found himself a good apartment in the city's center. The furnishing of the apartment was quite thorough. Moreover, the surrounding environment was very appealing. With the initial deposit paid, as long as he packed up his things, he could move into the apartment tomorrow. After tidying himself up, Xueqi drank a bottle of B-rank nutrient fluids. He then lay on the bed, donning his gaming helmet and resuming his conquest in God's domain. Chapter 122. God's domain changes. The sky above Red Leaf Town glimmered brightly. Players, one after another, appeared on the wide, spacious road, all of their faces filled with excitement. They all wished to dive into experiencing the new changes to God's domain. However, these players were all quickly disappointed. Be it the system interface or all of Red Leaf Town itself, there was not a hint of change felt. Everything was just the same as usual. What kind of bullshit is this? I've painstakingly waited for 12 hours, and this is what you give me? Why isn't the official website showing the changelog for the upgrade? Many veteran players started their discussions on the streets. There were also some players who paid no attention towards the upgrade, immediately heading out of town to kill monsters and level up. Aside from these veteran players, there were tons of newcomers in Red Leaf Town now. Most of these newcomers were curiously enjoying the novelty of God's domain. Looking for top-tier experts to carry me. I'll pay 100 credits for every level up. If you are looking for a fool to scam, then don't bother talking to me. I'm looking for serious inquiries only. A new player shouted on the wide street. Following, several more newcomers similarly shouted. However, though their offers were all lower than 100 credits, they all acted like tycoons, standing proudly as they shouted out their offers. At that moment, Xueqi stepped out of the hotel. He felt his spirit brimming with energy, one of the benefits of staying in a hotel. After the evolution of God's domain, the number of hidden attributes a player possessed had greatly increased. For example, stamina, concentration, and so on. However, one would only become aware of these changes after personally experiencing them. Players could no longer run tens of kilometers without tiring like before, nor would they be able to battle for as long as they wanted. Before, the only problem players faced was the tiring of the spirit. Now, however, everything was largely different. For players at level 0, they would become dead tired after only walking for 2 or 3 kilometers, not having even an ounce of fighting strength remaining. Similarly, continuously grinding monsters also became much more difficult. It was just like jogging. Players would consume a lot of stamina when battling monsters. Once a player's stamina reduced to a certain threshold, their 4 limbs would turn feeble, while their spirits would grow exhausted. Besides that, there were many more hidden changes that occurred after the evolution of God's domain. As the main God system made God's domain more realistic, simultaneously, players would find it even more difficult for them to level up. It should be time for me to go shopping. In Xueqi's previous life, after the upgrade of God's domain, the prices of items soared sky high, increasing by at least 2 or 3 folds. As a result, many players regretted not stockpiling a large number of resources after the evolution of God's domain. Meanwhile, the current situation was slightly different from before. The prices of items increased even more than last time. Aside from the difficulty of leveling up increasing, the time just so happened to coincide with the influx of a lot of newcomers. As a result, the competition for items would become much fiercer, increasing the difficulty of obtaining resources by many-fold. Hence, the increase in prices for these items would be even more exaggerated than in Xueqi's previous life. Now that God's domain had recently evolved, before players discovered the new changes, Xueqi could use this chance to purchase and stockpile all the important items. After the prices soared, he could then resell all of them. If the major guilds were to get a hold of this information right now, they would definitely soar to become the tyrants of their respective towns. For Xueqi, however, he could only make a quick buck. When comparing an individual to a guild, the resources obtainable by both were on totally different levels. There were plenty of players within a guild, so they would be able to easily obtain a ton of rare resources within no time at all. Meanwhile, although Xueqi knew how to obtain those resources, just how much of them could he obtain by himself? During the time he was procuring those resources, his level might be surpassed by other players. Hence, his only choice was to shop for the resources at the auction house. This expert over here, please wait a moment. Are you interested in making some extra income? A level 0 berserker walked up to Xueqi, asking with a smile on his face. Xueqi was wearing a complete silver moon set equipment. His weapon was also a secret silver rank. Although newcomers did not possess identification skills to discern Xueqi's level, Xueqi's dazzlingly high-quality equipment was clearly much better than the veteran players on the street. It was needless to say that Xueqi was definitely an expert. Extra income? Xueqi turned around, discovering that it was a newcomer calling out to him. For convenience sake, some of the more wealthy players would normally hire experts to aid them in completing a quest. In return, they would pay a considerable amount of credits as remuneration. Regarding such extra incomes, Xuefeng was still somewhat interested. He continued, "Tell me about it then." "It's very simple. You just need to help me level up. I'm also not a miserly person, so I'm willing to pay 100 credits per level. If you can help me catch up with the majority of the other players, I am even willing to pay you 1,000 credits. What do you think?" the berserker proudly stated. Xuefeng's brows wrinkled as he heard the man speaking. "Sorry, but I don't have the time. You should look for someone else to help you." Xuefeng had too many things he had to do. Not only did he need to make sure his level didn't fall behind, but he also needed to earn money and accumulate advantages for his future guild. He needed to make preparations for the upcoming power struggle in White River City. Just from clearing out the items in the auction house, he could earn several hundreds of thousands of credits. So, why would he waste his time just for a measly 1,000 credits? He hadn't fallen to such a low standard as of yet. Finished saying his piece, Xuefeng turned and walked away, heading towards the bank to store his items. "Hold on a moment," the berserker called out for a long time, but Xuefeng paid him no attention from beginning to end. Immediately, the berserker said in a fit of rage, "Crap, what's there to be so proud of? If you don't want to do it, there will be many other experts who would be willing to carry me. You'll regret it when that time comes. Looking for an expert to power level me. 100 credits per level. Don't miss this good opportunity." The berserker started shouting once again. However, even after shouting for a long time, not a single veteran player paid him any heed. "Ha ha ha, this newcomer is just too hilarious. My stomach is hurting from laughing too much." A level 5 ranger laughed as he passed. "Don't bother with him. There are bound to be fools amongst the newcomers. We don't have any time to spare right now. We need to purchase some bread and potions quickly. Otherwise, we're going to be scolded by our leader," the ranger's pro-companion too hurriedly said. I know. I just think that person is a fool. Does he really think God's domain is just some small-time game? Does he think we can level up once every minute? Forget 100 credits per level. Even if it were 1,000 credits per level, I still wouldn't do it, not to mention a top-tier expert player. Without 10 to 20,000 credits, there won't even be a need for a discussion. The ranger sneered. In the initial period of the game, everyone was rushing to level up. They were all afraid of being left behind by the majority of the players, losing their chance to shine. Hence, where would they find the time to help the newcomers? Not to mention 100 credits, right now, the pro players at level 5 could earn more than 1 silver in a single day. When converted to credits, that amount would be more than 100 credits. If their luck was good and they managed to obtain a piece of common equipment, that would be the equivalent of obtaining several hundreds of credits. If it were an expert player, it was an entirely different story altogether. They certainly did not lack such a meager amount money. When the newbie berserker heard their conversation, he was greatly shocked by the ranger's words. Moreover, he could tell that the ranger was not fooling around. The berserker was just a white-collar worker in a company. Previously, he was similarly willing to spend some money to seek the aid of others, letting others power level him. At that time, his offer had been only 30 to 50 credits. Yet, even then, there were tons of players fighting over his offer. However, right now, his offer of 100 credits did not receive even the slightest attention. It turned out that power leveling even a single level required several thousand credits. That was practically an entire month of his salary. The berserker's face immediately flushed bright red. He felt that he had just humiliated himself greatly. He had been shouting on the streets for so long, thinking highly of himself all this time. Even when he heard the gossiping of the passerby players, he only thought that they were astonished by his offer. However, in reality, it turned out that they were just scolding him as foolish. It was no wonder the previous expert had rejected his offer immediately after hearing the price. Meanwhile, the other newcomers seeking the aid of an expert had similarly shut their mouths, one after another. Every one of them felt their cheeks burning up, shamefully walking away to search for quests to level up. In another location, Xuefeng was currently fervently buying items at the auction house, accumulating a large amount of rare resources. When he had spent all of his money, only then did Xuefeng release a sigh of relief. He then placed the glimmer chestplate forging designs for auction, their base prices set at 2 gold coins each. He would not need to worry about them not selling. It should be about time to collect the ice blue devil flame. After Xueqi finished busying himself, he switched back to his original appearance. He prepared himself to collect the mysterious flame ahead of schedule. Now that God's domain had evolved ahead of schedule, the mysterious flame might similarly be obtained by other players ahead of schedule. To prevent the unexpected from happening, it was best for him to obtain it a little earlier. He would only be able to relax when the ice blue devil flame was in his possession. Chapter 123. Survival of the Fittest. Ice Blue Devil Flame. It was one of the handful of Tier 2 mysterious flames that could only be found in White River City. This flame held a fatal attraction towards forgers. Moreover, the 100 Ghost Forest that housed the Ice Blue Devil Flame was only a short distance from Red Leaf Town. Hence, it would be a big waste if Xueqi did not obtain it for himself. Be it earning money or forging items, the mysterious flame would provide Xueqi with a tremendous amount of aid. Right now, Xueqi was still several hundred proficiency points away from becoming an intermediate forging apprentice. However, even if he became one, it would still be quite difficult for him to forge the secret silver-ranked Silver Dawn. When forging secret silver equipment, an intermediate forging apprentice only had a 2% chance of success, while a basic forging apprentice had a pitiful 1%. If Xueqi included the 20% from the Book of Forging, 5% from Blacksteel's insignia, and 5% from the runic hammer, he would, at best, have a 32% success rate after becoming an intermediate forging apprentice. Furthermore, forging the Silver Dawn required 3 extremely rare materials, which dictated that Xueqi would be unable to create many of them. If Xueqi forged the Silver Dawn with such low success rates, he would absolutely take an irrecoverable loss. Although the loss of tens of silver coins with each failure was not a problem to Xueqi, the materials required were simply too rare. They were not items Xueqi could obtain simply by wishing. An extensive amount of time was needed to obtain all of them. Moreover, the Abyssal Blade probably required 10 Silver Dawns to level up. Hence, the Ice Blue Devil Flame was a must-have for Xueqi. The Tier 2 Ice Blue Devil Flame would considerably increase the forging success rate, not to mention the various benefits it would bring Xueqi in the future. Hence, this trip to the 100 Ghost Forest was a must for Xueqi. Xueqi departed Red Leaf Town, his destination, north. Due to the matter regarding stamina, Xueqi did not hurry too much. The quicker he ran, the quicker he would run out of stamina. Instead, if he maintained his running speed at a certain threshold, the rate his stamina replenished was equal to its consumption. However, this threshold differed for every player as it depended on the player's attributes, making it extremely hard for players to obtain. When Xueqi passed by the level 5 monster area, Grey Wolf Prairie. In the midst of the grass that grew to the waist of an adult, players' corpses randomly lay about, scattered. From a glance, the majority of players who died were solo players, while a minority consisted of parties who party-wiped. Going several hundred yards deeper into the prairie, the thick grass suddenly grew restless. At the sight, Xueqi immediately unsheathed both of his weapons. Soon after, 2 level 5 players rushed out from the thicket, their appearances extremely unsightly. Bloodstains littered their clothing, and their weapons were no longer on their persons. When the 2 of them noticed Xueqi, without hesitation, both of them immediately rushed toward him. After the 2 players ran out of the grass, a group of level 5 white-eyed gray wolves similarly came running, closely pursuing the 2 players. The white-eyed gray wolves howled as they chased their prey as if announcing the location of their quarry to others of their pack. White-eyed gray wolf. Common monster. Level 5. HP 540/540. Xueqi immediately understood the 2 players' intentions. They wanted to shift their calamity onto him. Brat, count yourself as unlucky for meeting us. Since you are going to die anyway, you might as well help us lure this wolf pack. An assassin looked toward Xueqi, laughing grimly. Saying so, the speed at which the 2 ran at Xueqi increased somewhat slightly. However, they greatly underestimated Xueqi. When the players were about to run past Xueqi's hands immediately latched onto the 2's arms. With his superb strength, he immediately tossed the players back to the pack of wolves that rushed ahead. Before the players could even react, they landed in the middle of the wolf pack. Their bodies smashed onto a few of the white-eyed gray wolves as they landed, eliciting a few anguished wails from the wolves. Before the assassin could even curse, the surrounding white-eyed gray wolves snapped at his neck and limbs. His flesh being torn apart, the assassin's HP madly fell as he let out an agonizing wail. The ranger beside him was naturally not spared this fate, and very quickly, the wolf pack finished him off as well. Xueqi held not an ounce of pity towards them. If the two of them had run in a different direction, they might have had the slight hope of surviving. However, instead of doing so, they made the worst possible decision of trying to drag Xueqi into the mess. They had absolutely no idea that, when compared to the pack of wolves chasing them, Xueqi was much more terrifying. While the wolf pack was attacking the two players, Xueqi took the chance to use Thundering Flash the instant the two players were about to die. Like a fierce tiger released from its cage, the green-colored arc of lightning loosed an earth-shaking howl as it pierced the bodies of the white-eyed gray wolves, causing a series of damages over -300 points. The white-eyed gray wolves died instantly, and only piles of burnt ash remained. Although Xueqi had killed over 10 white-eyed gray wolves with a single attack, he was already level 7. The total EXP of several hundred points was almost negligible to him now. After collecting all the loot, Xueqi took an isolation scroll out from his bag. With the evolution of God's domain, the monsters in the wild had similarly received a huge upgrade. Not only was their sensitivity greatly increased, but they also had a more flexible way of thinking, and their range of activity greatly widened. Their battle methods started varying, becoming more similar to real melee battle. Meanwhile, the biggest change the monsters underwent after the evolution of God's domain was that these monsters would no longer shrink back, even against high-leveled players. Also, their range of vigilance would no longer reduce. Hence, players needed even more caution when dealing with monsters. Otherwise, they could easily lure a large group of monsters onto themselves. On his way to this place, Xueqi had met many players who died in such a way. For example, a party that had killed a few white-eyed gray wolves failed to leave the location quickly. As a result, the scent of blood spread to the surroundings and attracted more white-eyed gray wolves, wiping out the party. After using the isolation scroll, Xueqi quickly departed the Grey Wolf Prairie. He then passed through Kirk Grand Canyon, Cybus Lake, and many other high-level monster areas. After traveling for 6 hours, Xueqi finally arrived at the level 15 monster area, 100 Ghost Forest. The 100 Ghost Forest was a cursed location. In this dark and withered forest, where sunlight never reached, only the cursed apparitions lingered. These apparitions had a 60% resistance against physical attacks and possessed 20% evasion. The monsters also had insanely high attack power, and to the current Xueqi, they only needed to land 2 or 3 hits to kill him. However, these monsters only had 600 HP, and magical attack damage was increased by 100%. Hence, the 100 Ghost Forest was a leveling heaven for mage classes. Due to God's domain evolving, these cursed apparitions had become much more sensitive to their surroundings. They were widely different from the other beast-type monsters. Instead of scent, these monsters could easily sniff out the aura of living beings within a 100-yard radius, and even if one used stealth, the cursed apparitions could still detect them. However, Xueqi had come prepared. He took out a bottle of dispersing potion, immediately emptying its contents. The potion concealed the aura of a living being for 10 minutes. With the aid of the dispersing potion, Xueqi only needed to be slightly careful to avoid the detection of the cursed apparitions. According to Xueqi's knowledge, the location of the ice-blue devil flame was at the center of the 100 Ghost Forest, at the fountain located at the central of 100 Ghost Town. To obtain this ice-blue devil flame, the guild Glorious Light had gone through a painstaking amount of trouble. Only after sending thousands of their members and having hundreds of them die, did they manage to clean out all the monsters found in 100 Ghost City, obtaining the ice-blue devil flame. Naturally, Xueqi knew he did not possess the ability to clear out all the monsters in 100 Ghost Town. However, he had other methods of securing the mysterious flame. Only, they were all filled with extreme danger. After arriving at the 100 Ghost Town, with much difficulty, Xueqi halted his steps, observing the town. When a cooling breeze blew over Xueqi from the withered forest, he suddenly felt an indescribable chill. Killing intent. If Xueqi did not have the experience of many years of blood-soaked combat, earning himself a natural instinct to detect danger, he would have been completely ignorant towards this faintly discernible killing intent. As this was not his first time feeling such a chillingly cold killing intent, Xueqi immediately unsheathed both his swords. At that very instant, a black figure appeared behind Xueqi, following which, A silver glow stabbed directly towards Xuefeng's neck and another towards his lower back. Like a poisonous snake, the two attacks were both swift and fatal. From these two actions alone, Xuefeng knew his attacker was a top-tier expert immediately. Although Xuefeng was slightly on guard, the speed of the attacks was just too swift for him to dodge. Chapter 124. Absolute Heaven. Just as Xuefeng was about to take damage, Xuefeng abruptly activated Defensive Blade, successfully blocking the ambush. If an assassin's ambush struck a player, they would enter a fainted state for 3 seconds. These 3 short seconds were enough for an expert assassin to obliterate half a MT's HP. Moreover, assassins did not possess only a single skill that could place their target in a fainted state. As long as an assassin placed a player in the fainted state, they would remaining in that state until their death. Scram! Xuefeng roared. He struck out with his sword as he withdrew his body. His sword capable of annihilating an army of thousands. As the abyssal blade hurtled towards its target, it carried along sounds of explosions. Interesting. The black figure reacted quickly, doing a swallow's turnover. As the abyssal blade scraped past his body, like a whip, the black figure brandished both his weapons once more, one of his daggers slicing into Xuefeng's side. Throughout the entire process, the black figure's actions were as smooth and natural as flowing water. You're courting death. However, Xuefeng paid no attention to the dagger sailing towards him, the crimson blade already in motion. The crimson blade transformed into 4 sword images, all aimed for the black figure's vital points. Xuefeng was utterly confident in his own attack power. The black figure was suddenly shocked. He did not think Xuefeng would be so decisive, giving up his defense and instead, aiming for mutual destruction. In a hurried motion, the black figure used his other dagger to block Xuefeng's attacks. Dang, dang, dang. Sparks flew in mid-air. Xuefeng's immense strength knocked the black figure back by 2 yards. He only managed to stabilize his body after retreating 3 consecutive steps. The black figure gazed at Xuefeng in shock. Indeed, you do not disappoint me, the black figure let out a muffled sneer. The black figure did not understand how Xuefeng possessed such impressive strength. Xuefeng also perceived him right before his ambush, taking preventive measures against it immediately. Furthermore, the instant before Xuefeng was attacked, he unhesitatingly chose to attack in turn, giving the black figure no choice but to attack. This was the first time he had failed an ambush in a virtual reality game. At this moment, Xuefeng was similarly in great shock. This black figure was practically a killer amongst killers. His movements were both soundless and lethal. His assassination techniques also seemed extremely well practiced. Furthermore, his attack speed was insanely quick. The black figure was even able to tail Xuefeng without discovery. If he had not revealed his killing intent the instant before he attacked, Xuefeng might truly have been his prey. The black figure wore a black hooded cape, which completely concealed his facial features. Moreover, the hooded cape he used was very special. It was capable of rendering identification skills useless, and as a result, even his name was obscured. Xuefeng then turned to read at the system notification. System. Red player Absolute Heaven has initiated an attack against you. Although the cape managed to trick identification skills, hiding the black figure's red name, it could not fool the system. Xuefeng had never heard the name Absolute Heaven. However, judging from his skills, Absolute Heaven was definitely not some nameless figure. The failure this time is due to my inept preparation. The next time I come, I'll definitely take your life, Absolute Heaven said as he turned around to retreat. You think you can escape? Xuefeng used Windblade, the abyssal blade thrusting towards Absolute Heaven. As long as an assassin was revealed, their battle prowess reduced by half. Since Absolute Heaven wanted to kill him, Xuefeng would not let him off, naturally. He needed to kill this assassin before anything else. He did not wish to have someone constantly following him, aiming for his life. The abyssal blade moved along the wind, instantly arriving and slicing towards Absolute Heaven's back. As if he had long since been prepared, Absolute Heaven twisted his body, lifting his silvery white dagger. Using only a small amount of strength, Absolute Heaven managed to block Xuefeng's sword. Simultaneously, his other silver-colored dagger stabbed towards Xuefeng's abdomen. Kidney strike. From the series of attacks from before, Absolute Heaven had accumulated sufficient energy to force Xueqi into a fainted state for 4 seconds. Xueqi did not think that Absolute Heaven would return with a counterattack. He immediately did a side flip, avoiding the kidney strike. However, Absolute Heaven's second dagger closely followed, the dagger aiming for Xueqi's backside. Backstab. Xueqi immediately leaped into the air, avoiding the backstab. Then, as Xueqi descended, he abruptly brandished the abyssal blade. Thunder and fire coalesced around the abyssal blade, and like a thunder dragon roaring, the weapon struck down towards the ground. Thunder flame explosion. Absolute Heaven instantly noticed the ferocity of Xueqi's attack. He lifted both his daggers in front of him, using block to defend against this violent strike. However, how could Xueqi's super strength be so easy to defend against? At the moment of contact, Absolute Heaven was immediately forced to kneel. Both his legs sank into the ground, while his body nearly crumbled from the pressure. The successful block of the thunder flame explosion shocked Xueqi. However, he reacted by swinging the abyssal blade, casting Abyssal Bind on Absolute Heaven. Immediately, 9 chains bound Absolute Heaven, preventing him from moving a muscle. Xueqi then followed up with an attack with both of his swords, his full strength placed behind the strikes. 10 sword images flew towards Absolute Heaven, the target unable to dodge or avoid any of the images. Let's meet again next time, Absolute Heaven laughed. He discovered that Xueqi had a plethora of attack patterns, allowing him to send out attacks in unbroken succession. Absolute Heaven's body then started dissipating, the 9 chains that bound him falling to the ground. Similarly, the 10 sword images managed to pierce only air. This was an advanced skill of assassins. Vanish. Not only would it forcefully place the user in an invisible state, but it would also allow the user to enter an invulnerable state for 1 second. Don't even think of getting away. Xueqi was not willing to let Absolute Heaven go. Looking at the impressions in the grass left by Absolute Heaven's feet, Xueqi used Thundering Flash. 3 electric arcs shot out. Absolute Heaven activated Wind Steps, entering an invulnerable state once more for 1 second and successfully fending off the attacks of Thundering Flash. He then ran speedily away. Similarly, Xueqi activated Windwalk to chase after him. However, shortly after Xueqi began pursuit of Absolute Heaven, he noticed Absolute Heaven taking out a handful of white powder. Xueqi immediately turned his head, shutting his eyes tightly. The moment Absolute Heaven scattered the white powder, he released a blinding white light. Flash Powder. It was an item that temporarily blinded monsters and players below level 20 for 4 seconds. It was an extremely rare tool, and it was only sold in the magic shop located in the slums of Red Leaf Town. Moreover, each player could only purchase 10 bags of it per day. After the momentarily blinding light subsided, Xueqi opened his eyes, searching for Absolute Heaven. However, he discovered that Absolute Heaven had long since escaped, his figure no longer in sight. After searching for a long time, Xueqi was unable to discover his tracks. Without any better options, Xueqi could only choose to give up. Just where is this Absolute Heaven from? Xueqi's heart filled with questions. Not only did this assassin possess excellent techniques, but he also had a large number of skills. Moreover, Absolute Heaven was equipped with a complete level 5 bronze set equipment, and both his daggers were secret silver ranked. His origin was definitely not ordinary. Xueqi had only been to Blackwing City recently. Even if he had provoked the bloodthirsty War God Guild, those people did not know of his true identity. If Xueqi were to think of who else he may have provoked, then they'd be Flaming Tiger from Shadow and Ironsword Lion from Martial Union. Xueqi was extremely familiar with the internal members of Shadow, and he knew Flaming Tiger was not capable of finding such an unknown expert. The only possibility remaining was Ironsword Lion. Xueqi had previously killed Ironsword Lion. Based on Ironsword Lion's personality, he would definitely not let this matter rest. There was over an 80% possibility that Ironsword Lion had hired this hidden expert. Xueqi could not help but admit that this situation was a headache. With his current strength, he was unafraid of Ironsword Lion coming at him straight on. However, an assassin constantly following him, especially an expert assassin like Absolute Heaven, was truly a bother. If Absolute Heaven appeared and attacked him while he fought a monster or during a crucial moment, there was a 90% possibility for him to actually die. It looks like I can only use another appearance in the future. For now, Shifeng's only option was to alter his appearance. This way, even if that assassin called Absolute Heaven was powerful, he would absolutely be unable to find him. If Absolute Heaven couldn't find him, he couldn't harass him. However, Shifeng could not alter his appearance right now. He needed to find a place with nobody present before doing so. Shifeng worried that this person named Absolute Heaven hadn't left the vicinity yet, and instead, was still tailing him. Thinking so, Shifeng immediately activated the Ring of Nothingness, his body vanishing in thin air. First, he needed to look for a place without other players before changing his appearance. Then, he would continue searching for the ice-blue devil flame. Sometime after Shifeng vanished, a figure revealed itself from behind one of the large withered trees. Indeed, this figure was Absolute Heaven. Crap! Is he an assassin or a swordsman? Absolute Heaven could not help but curse. He was normally not one to easily give up. Previously, he constantly said that he was leaving all in order to mislead Shifeng, looking for a good chance to ambush his target once more. He did not think Shifeng possessed such a move, instantly disappearing. Just how was he supposed to look for the chance to ambush Shifeng now? Chapter 125, 100 Ghost Town. Cold winds blew within the 100 Ghost Forest. It was a place daylight never reached. On an abandoned little farm, Shifeng, with his newly disguised appearance, was currently standing within a wooden building, searching for something. I've finally found it. Looks like the information wasn't wrong. After turning the place upside down, Shifeng obtained a bronze key from a wooden bucket. Secret door key. Able to open the steel gate to the secret passageway of the 100 Ghost Town. Now that an assassin crouched in a corner, waiting for him, Shifeng worried that a problem would crop up at a crucial moment. Hence, he gave up the notion of entering the 100 Ghost Town through the front door. With this key, he could use the secret passage to enter the 100 Ghost Town. Only, the process of doing so was filled with many complications. Legends had it, the entire 100 Ghost Forest was once cursed by an extremely powerful dark cursemancer, turning all the living inhabitants into ghosts. Trapped in an existence of endless torment, these ghosts harbored an intense hatred of the living. As long as a living person approached the 100 Ghost Town, the countless evil ghosts would ambush and devour them. Meanwhile, the secret passage would lead Shifeng directly to the central region of the 100 Ghost Town. Although Absolute Heaven was very powerful, he could not enter the 100 Ghost Town. What's more, Shifeng had altered his disguise again. Even if they met, Absolute Heaven wouldn't recognize him. Shifeng found a cellar a short distance from the farm. This cellar was the entrance to the secret passage that led to the 100 Ghost Town, while the owner of the farm was the secret passage's gatekeeper. The cellar was very dark, and Shifeng could not make out a single thing within. His only option was to take out a magic lamp to shine the way. He followed along the cellar's passage, advancing forward until he finally reached the large steel gates that led to the secret passage. At this moment, however, the steel gates were tightly sealed. If Shifeng's strength were over 100 points, even if he did not possess a key, he would be able to force open these steel gates with his arms alone. However, he was still very far from possessing 100 points in strength, so he could only obediently use the key to open the gates. After only taking a few steps into the secret passageway, Shifeng discovered that his surroundings were littered with pearly white bones, while the walls on both sides were filled with the scars of battle. Such a sight gave Shifeng a very bad premonition. The curse on the 100 Ghost Forest turned the living into ghosts. That meant that all the inhabitants of this place were ghosts. This pile of skeletons. Ayo! At this moment, a large group of pitch-black evil spirits came rushing out from the depths of the secret passage, roaring. Their scarlet eyes firmly locked onto Shifeng as they bared their fangs and brandished there, speeding towards him. Cursed Evil Spirit. Common Monster. Level 15. HP 700/700. Cursed evil spirits, when compared to cursed apparitions, were much more ferocious. They were unlike the cursed apparitions who were sluggish in their motions, depending solely on their instincts to move. Cursed evil spirits possessed a set intelligence and were extremely lively. They also possessed an instinctive madness and sensitivity to flesh and blood. The cursed evil spirits were all level 15. Meanwhile, Xueqi was only level 7. With a level suppression of 8 levels, in addition to the 60% resistance and 20% evasion of physical attacks, Xueqi would not be able to deal with even one of these monsters, not to mention a group of over 30. These cursed evil spirits could even wipe out a level 15 party with relative ease. Watching these cursed evil spirits rush at him, Xueqi took out a frost grenade from his bag, throwing it at them. The frost grenade instantly discharged in the midst of the group of cursed evil spirits. In the blink of an eye, the cursed evil spirits within a 10-yard radius were frozen. They also received -400 frost damage from the explosion. As expected, the 100% increase to magical damage was these ghosts' Achilles' heel. The reason Xueqi chose to hurry to 100 Ghost Forest was the frost grenades he had managed to buy during his trip to Blackwing City. The basic frost grenades were sufficient to deal with the ghosts in 100 Ghost Town. After all, 200 damage was no small amount. In addition, the frost grenades would have a 100% damage increase when used on the ghosts here, becoming even more remarkable. As expected, the frost grenades were very effective against these ghost-type monsters. Moreover, they had a throwing range of 30 yards and a cooldown of 1 second. However, it was half as effective when used against players. Previously, Xueqi was worried that the number of frost grenades he brought to 100 Ghost Town was not enough. Hence, he did not use any of them against Absolute Heaven. Moreover, the frost grenades might not be able to surely kill off Absolute Heaven, and even if they did manage to kill Absolute Heaven, Xueqi would reveal one of his trump cards. If others caught wind of this information and started making preparations against the frost grenades, it would truly be an unworthwhile trade. If he revealed this card, he needed to reap the most benefit out of it. Using the frost grenades to get rid of a single Absolute Heaven was just not worth it. At the very least, he should use them to give Martial Union a ruthless blow. Right. How could I forget that the ghosts are darkness-type monsters? The Demon Hunter title should have quite some use. Xueqi suddenly recalled his own Demon Hunter title, swapping out his current title. Immediately, the attributes of the cursed evil spirits reduced by 10%, while the damage they received increased by 10%. Xueqi then threw another frost grenade, the bomb exploding with a loud bang in the midst of the group of evil spirits. A patch of damages of -440 points appeared above the group of monsters. Instantly, he annihilated the 30+ cursed evil spirits. System: Level 15 Cursed Evil Spirit killed. Level difference of 8. EXP obtained increased by 800%. Obtained 4,800 EXP. System: Level 15 Cursed Evil Spirit killed. Level difference of 8. EXP obtained increased by 800%. Obtained 4,800 EXP. System: Level 15 Cursed Evil Spirit killed. Level difference of 8. EXP obtained increased by 800%. Obtained 4,800 EXP. A series of more than 30 notifications appeared in Xueqi's view. Although ghost-type monsters gave the least amount of EXP, the rewarded EXP for killing monsters of a higher level was still extremely high. Even if Xueqi was level 7 now, his experience bar still increased by a sizable chunk. He reached 23% of level 7, his leveling speed even faster than a rocket. After these evil spirits died, they dropped quite a lot of copper coins and tiny spirit essences. 10 tiny spirit essences could be used to form a spirit essence, one of the needed materials to forge magical attachments. Hence, spirit essences were also worth quite a lot of money. After collecting the drops, Xueqi discovered that the evil spirits had actually given him over 1 silver coin. There were also over a dozen tiny spirit essences that dropped. When formed into a spirit essence, it was worth 1 silver coin. This was definitely a good place to earn money. Although there was still the loss of 2 frost grenades, costing a total of 3 silver coins, if Xueqi could lure more than 50 monsters each time, he would barely make a small profit. Hopefully there will be more evil spirits in this place, Xueqi said with expectation, his hand holding another frost grenade. Half an hour later, Xueqi finally arrived at the secret passage's exit. The secret passage was very long, and on his way here, he met with the ambushes of another 5 groups of evil spirits. However, the frost grenades dealt with them all. The number of evil spirits in each ambush only counted slightly over 20, causing Xueqi a loss. In return, however, Shifeng's experience quickly rose. He would level up if he just killed a few more groups of evil spirits. It was truly an invigorating experience. The gate that opened to the 100 Ghost Town was widely agape. Before Shifeng exited the secret passage, he could already hear the countless roars and wails outside. Above the secret passage was the Hotel of 100 Ghost Town, and one could just imagine that the number of ghosts there was definitely not few. However, in such a cramped space, it would not be a good idea for Shifeng to use the frost grenades. Having no better choice, Shifeng activated the Ring of Nothingness. The state of nothingness was different from stealth. Shifeng entered another space entirely, and even the ghosts could not discover Shifeng. Shifeng could stay in the state of nothingness for a short time. Hence, he ran with wild abandon as he quickly departed the hotel, dashing towards one of the private houses. Seeing the duration of the state of nothingness about to end, if Shifeng were to take a stroll on the streets of 100 Ghost Town, filled with ghosts, he would truly be seeking death. As for the frost grenades, they had a 1-second cooldown, and they could encompass every location. 3 seconds. 2 seconds. 1 second. With only 10 yards remaining before Shifeng reached the private house, the state of nothingness ended, his body revealed. Suddenly, the heads of the countless ghosts on the streets all turned towards Shifeng, revealing sinister expressions. Amongst these ghosts, there was no lack the elite-ranked monster, ferocious evil spirit, and they all rushed towards Shifeng. Chapter 126. Left in the Dust. Watching the ghosts rushing forth from all around, Shifeng immediately activated Windwalk, his speed increasing by a huge leap as he dashed towards the dilapidated house. Ayo! The level 15 elite-ranked ferocious evil spirits let out an ear-piercing screech. Immediately, more cursed evil spirits dashed over, crowding the private house. Under the command of the ferocious evil spirits, they all stormed into the house in a well-organized manner. The private house was not large, and the place was a mess, with dust covering every surface. Meanwhile, the main door of the house could, at most, fit only 2 people at a time. The moment the cursed evil spirits squeezed through the main door, a small-sized basic frost grenade exploded in the threshold. Cold air overflowed from the entrance, and everything within a 10-yard radius froze solid. Instantly, the 50-plus cursed evil spirits in front of the private house froze as well, and a damage of -440 points appearing above each of their heads. Their remaining HPs dropped under half. With the cursed evil spirits at the entrance rooted in place, the others who, unaffected, were unable to rush into the house to devour Shifeng. The frost grenade could hold the evil spirits for 5 seconds. Shifeng took this chance to use Thundering Flash. 3 arcs of lightning immediately pierced towards the main entrance. However, due to the gap between levels being too wide, the total damage the skill caused to each cursed evil spirit did not even exceed -100 points. System: proficiency of Thundering Flash raised by 3 points. However, because of the high level of these cursed evil spirits, whenever Shifeng used a skill to attack them, his skill proficiency greatly increased. Each usage would raise the skill proficiency by 3 points. As it so happened, Shifeng could use these cursed evil spirits to train his skill proficiency while waiting for the cooldown of the frost grenades to end. Earth Splitter. Thunder Flame Explosion. AoE skills landed on the cursed evil spirits, one after another. Although the damage was extremely low, the skill proficiency greatly increased. After using the 3 skills, Shifeng threw another frost grenade. Instantly, the 50-plus cursed evil spirits died, transforming into a large sum of EXP for Shifeng and dropping plenty of copper coins and tiny spirit essences. With the first wave of cursed evil spirits dead, the ones behind rushed forward once more. Shifeng waited until they started squeezing through the main entrance before throwing a frost grenade. Once again, the cursed evil spirits halted. Shifeng then used the skills that had their cooldown completed before using another frost grenade to finish off these cursed evil spirits. Countless cursed evil spirits swarmed the 100 Ghost Town. There were also the ferocious evil spirits continuously screeching and luring the other cursed evil spirits over. By this time, cursed evil spirits and ferocious evil spirits overflowed the private house's yard. If there were not a team of several hundred players here, it was practically a pipe dream to clear all these monsters. However, Shifeng only camped inside the private house, using the frost grenades to clean away these monsters slowly. Although his efficiency was a lot slower when compared to a team with hundreds of players, his method was extremely safe. He could also grind for skill proficiency, killing 2 birds with 1 stone. With the deaths of batch after batch of cursed evil spirits, Xuefeng's experience and skill proficiency rose without stop. Before 5 minutes had even passed, Xuefeng had already risen to level 8. Although he had killed an insane number of cursed evil spirits, towards the 100 ghost town, such a number was only a drop in the bucket. After reaching level 8, the EXP he obtained from killing the cursed evil spirits was reduced by a large chunk. However, the death of each cursed evil spirit still yielded Xuefeng with 4,200 EXP, and his leveling speed was still rising quicker than a rocket. With every wave of monsters killed, his experience bar filled by a large chunk. If others were to see this, their eyes would most likely pop out of their sockets. They could only raise their experience bars by a small chunk after striving for 1 or 2 hours. Yet, Xuefeng's experience bar expanded by a large portion with each passing moment. With the slow decrease of Xuefeng's remaining frost grenades, the number of cursed evil spirits also continuously fell. This situation greatly enraged the ferocious evil spirits, and they worked even harder at summoning their allies. 20 minutes later, a golden flash surrounded Xuefeng's body. He leveled up once more, reaching level 9. Meanwhile, Thunderflame Explosion had risen to level 2, and Earth Splitter to level 3. If including the skill level bonus from the Abyssal Blade, Thunderflame Explosion would be level 4, while Earth Splitter would be level 5. Thunderflame Explosion. Action type. Level 4. Requires melee weapon. Causes 300 base damage and additional flame and thunder damage to enemies within a 5-yard radius. Enemies struck will be placed in a fainted state for 5 seconds. Cooldown. 36 seconds. Earth Splitter. Level 5. Requires sword. Causes 190 base damage and based on the period of charging power between 0.2 seconds to 3 seconds, a maximum of 360% weapon damage. Attack range of 10 yards. Cooldown. 40 seconds. The cooldown of both of these skills greatly reduced, while their power increased. If both skills were used, common monsters of the same level would die without question. However, the most frightening part was still the fact that Xuefeng had risen to level 9. Even in all of White River City, no one could find another level 9 player. If there were a ranking for levels, Xuefeng would unquestionably be placed at the number 1 spot, while the player in second place was still a great distance from level 8. It could be said that Xuefeng had left others in his dust, and even if the others tried, they could not catch up. After reaching level 9, Xuefeng placed all of his attribute points into agility. With this, Xuefeng's agility finally reached 75 points, satisfying the condition for equipping the Dark Pursuer's Cape. After equipping the Dark Pursuer's Cape, Xuefeng's attributes greatly increased once more, his agility immediately rising to 80 points. As long as it reached 100 points, he could unlock agility's special hidden skill, greatly increasing his battle prowess. Besides that, Xuefeng's HP had also increased to 1,200 points, his movement speed to 24 points, and his attack speed to 30 points, allowing him to learn the skill, Silent Steps. The next time he met Absolute Heaven, he would not allow him to escape so easily. Now that Xuefeng was level 9, the level suppression from the cursed evil spirits was no longer as significant as before. Furthermore, Thundering Flash, Earth Splitter, and Thunderflame Explosion had all leveled up as well, notably increasing their might. Right now, Xuefeng only needed to combine 1 Frost Grenade and his 3 skills to end the cursed evil spirits, saving him a lot of frost grenades. After which, Xuefeng continued massacring the cursed evil spirits for over a dozen minutes, his experience bar rising to 36% of level 9. As long as he continued grinding like this for an hour, he could definitely reach level 10. Unfortunately, Xuefeng had cleared out all the cursed evil spirits that once filled the streets. Finally, those ferocious evil spirits were no longer able to remain idle. They released angry roars, intending to rip Xuefeng to shreds with their own bare hands. The scene frightened the other cursed evil spirits. They hurriedly parted to give way to the ferocious evil spirits. Suddenly, over a dozen incomparably sinister-looking beings stormed the private house, every one of the ferocious evil spirits intending to rend Xuefeng into tens of thousands of pieces. Ferocious Evil Spirit. Elite Rank. Level 15. HP 5,000/5000. Compared to the cursed evil spirits, not only did the ferocious evil spirits have larger bodies, but their attack power and movement speed also greatly surpassed the former. They had many powerful melee skills, in addition to their 5000 HP, 70% resistance, and 30% evasion to physical attacks. They were capable of easily decimating any melee class of the same levels. Moreover, the damage of magical attacks used on these monsters only increased by 50%, while magical damage of the same attribute would reduce by 50%. As a result, even mage classes were helpless against them. However, those were still not the most frightening aspects of these monsters. After God's domain underwent its first evolution, common monsters above level 10 all possessed a certain amount of wisdom. Meanwhile, these level 15 elites possessed even greater wisdom, increasing their battle prowess by many folds. In Xuefeng's previous life, these ferocious evil spirits slaughtered many players from Glorious Light. To kill these ferocious evil spirits, Glorious Light had paid with the lives of hundreds of players. Finally here, Despite watching the ferocious evil spirits rushing at him, Xuefeng remained extremely calm. In actuality, there was one thing that Xuefeng had always wanted to know. In God's domain, if these monsters with high intelligence were met with players that greatly surpassed them, just what sort of reaction would occur? Chapter 127. Ghost Rider. Just as the ferocious evil spirits were about to rush into the house, Xuefeng took out an intermediate frost grenade from his bag, throwing it. The ferocious evil spirits already had a rough understanding of the frost grenade's formidable power, and they showed extreme disdain towards it. Without even attempting to dodge the frost grenade, their pitch-black claws abruptly extended forward, slashing towards Xuefeng's heart. However, after the frost grenade discharged, the cold air that expanded was several times colder than before. At this moment, the ferocious evil spirits immediately realized something was wrong. The sinister expression on their faces revealed a hint of fear. In the blink of an eye, cold air invaded the forms of all the ferocious evil spirits, transforming them into ice sculptures. The intermediate frost grenade was the trump card that Xuefeng had prepared. Each one was worth 10 silver coins, which was nearly several days of a pro player's earnings. The intermediate frost grenade also caused -1,320 damage to each of the ferocious evil spirits. With Xuefeng's Demon Hunter title equipped, the ferocious evil spirits only had a maximum of 4,500 HP each, and this attack instantly destroyed a third of their HP. Due to using the intermediate frost grenades for the first time, it achieved the maximum effect. When used the next time, these ferocious evil spirits would possess ice resistance, greatly reducing the potential damage of the intermediate frost grenades. Die! Xuefeng unsheathed his swords, his feet moving to an appropriate position before using Thundering Flash. 3 green, electric arcs encompassed the ferocious evil spirits. Thundering Flash belonged to the lightning-type magic damage. Hence, its damage increased by 50% when used on the ferocious evil spirits. Moreover, Xuefeng had already reached level 9. While the Abyssal Blade could ignore a monster's level by 5 levels. In actuality, the ferocious evil spirits were only considered 1 level higher than Xuefeng, and the level suppression on Xuefeng was almost non-existent. The level 5 Thundering Flash dealt damages of -176, -230, and -297 to these frozen monsters. The skill also placed an additional amplification effect on the monsters, increasing the damage they received by 30% over the next 20 seconds. With the ferocious evil spirits unable to move for a full 5 seconds, Xuefeng was able to launch attacks at them freely. Chop. Double chop. Earth Splitter. Physical type damage was no different than a scratch to these ferocious evil spirits, and even a fully charged Earth Splitter caused no more than 100 damage. As the seconds ticked by, the ice covering the bodies of the ferocious evil spirits started showing signs of cracking. It would only be a moment before they struggled free of their imprisonment. Xuefeng leaped lightly, the Abyssal Blade raised high as it condensed the power of thunder and flame around it. When Xuefeng landed in the midst of the group of ferocious evil spirits, an abrupt explosion occurred. Thunder and flame instantly swallowed the surroundings, enveloping the ferocious evil spirits and causing damages of over -500 points. In just a moment, the ferocious evil spirits all lost 2/5 of their HP, and he forced them all into a fainted state. Due to these monsters being high-leveled elites, the fainted state was less effective on them, lasting at most 3 seconds. Meanwhile, after Xuefeng's attributes had greatly increased explosively, he created 12 sword images. Like a fierce gale, Xuefeng swept through the ferocious evil spirits. Multiple damages of roughly -30 points appeared above the ferocious evil spirits' heads, with the occasional -60 points or so damage. Immediately, the ferocious evil spirits' HP reduced slightly once more. As the 3 seconds were about to pass, Xuefeng tossed out another intermediate frost grenade, turning these ferocious evil spirits into ice sculptures yet again. This time, the intermediate frost grenade only managed to cause -860 damage to the monsters. However, the damage was enough to reduce the HP of these ferocious evil spirits to a critical level. These ferocious evil spirits truly did not imagine a weakling like Xuefeng was so powerful. Within a short time span of less than 10 seconds, he managed to send all of them near death's door. Every one of these ferocious evil spirits revealed expressions of fear. They started to struggle out of the ice with all their might, their hearts filled with thoughts of escape. Unfortunately, their efforts were for naught. As another second passed, Xuefeng threw out the third intermediate frost grenade, taking the lives of the dozen-plus ferocious evil spirits. After their deaths, the ferocious evil spirits dropped a pile of loot. System: Level 15 ferocious evil spirit killed. Level difference of 6. EXP obtained increased by 600%. Obtained 12,000 EXP. System: Level 15 ferocious evil spirit killed. Level difference of 6. EXP obtained increased by 600%. Obtained 12,000 EXP. System: Level 15 ferocious evil spirit killed. Level difference of 6. EXP obtained increased by 600%. Obtained 12,000 EXP. A series of notification appeared in Xuefeng's sight. Immediately, Xuefeng's experience bar rose to 54% of level 9, pushing him closer to the level 10 threshold. Without the leadership of the ferocious evil spirits, the instincts of the cursed evil spirits towards flesh and blood immediately flared, all of them fervently squeezing through the entrance of the private house. However, Xuefeng quickly dealt with them using the basic frost grenades, and the deaths of the cursed evil spirits increasing his experience to 67% of level 9. In less than 2 hours, Xuefeng rose by more than 2 levels. Although his leveling speed was impressively quick, the money he spent to do so was equally astonishing. Such a method of leveling was only possible to a tycoon like Xuefeng. After all, each basic frost grenade cost 1 silver, 50 coppers. Aside from the fact that Xuefeng had used over 400 basic frost grenades, he also used 3 intermediate frost grenades, which cost 10 silver coins each. All in all, Xuefeng spent over 6 gold coins to achieve such a leveling speed. If converted to credits, that would be over 60,000 credits spent on this endeavor. In other words, each level cost Xuefeng over 30,000 credits. Even the elite members of society could not afford such spending. Following which, Xuefeng collected the drops from the monsters. With the entire street of ghosts murdered by Xuefeng, it took him over half an hour to collect all the loot that dropped. Making a rough calculation, Xuefeng discovered that he actually did not take a loss. Instead, he profited from this adventure of his. Xuefeng picked up a total of 1 gold, 32 silvers. Amongst the loot, there were also over 3,000 tiny spirit essences, more than 10 skill books for various classes, tens of pieces of level 12 and level 13 common equipment, over 20 pieces of level 10 and above bronze equipment, and 2 pieces of level 15 mysterious iron equipment. As for the 2 pieces of mysterious iron equipment, one was a level 15 cloth shirt for mages, and the other was a level 15 two-handed great axe. Between the two, the weapon was the most valuable. The mage shirt could be sold for over 1 gold coin, while the great axe would sell for at least 2 gold coins. As for the bronze equipment, each piece would sell for at least 20 silver coins. Xuefeng's profit was simply through the roof. This place is so profitable. I'll bring Blackie and the others to level up in the future. Xuefeng felt this was an optimal location. Not to mention the fact that he made a profit despite all the money he spent, His level also increased in a flash, killing 2 birds with 1 stone. However, he still needed some time before making a decision. Right now, he needed to let the others slowly familiarize themselves with the battle methods in the newly evolved god's domain. If they only depended on the frost grenades to level up, their techniques would never improve. After clearing out the ghosts from the entire street, Xueqi effortlessly arrived at the central plaza of the 100-ghost town. Although there were no longer any ghosts left on the street, the central plaza was still densely packed with even larger numbers than before. Meanwhile, at the center of the plaza, a faint blue flame burned brightly above a fountain, giving off a deep blue glow. This flame was the ice blue devil flame, and it was currently guarded by ferocious evil spirits. Furthermore, there was a knight, clad in jet black armor, standing among the ferocious evil spirits. The knight carried a silver-colored greatsword on its back, and both its eyes gave off a green glow as it stood quietly by the side. All of the ghosts surrounding this knight treated it with respect, awaiting his command. The nature of this knight was different than the other ghosts. Its entire body was just a skeleton covered in faint blue flames. The heat given off by those flames caused the land around it to dry up and crack. Ghost Rider, Chieftain Rank. Level 15. HP 100, 000/100, 000. As expected, it is very strong. It's no wonder Glorious Light lost several hundreds of their elite players after battling the Ghost Rider. Just by looking at it, Xueqi knew it would be impossible for him to have a direct confrontation with the Ghost Rider. Without several hundred elite players, it was an impossible task to kill the Ghost Rider. Moreover, there were also thousands of cursed evil spirits and ferocious evil spirits present. Chapter 128. Engaging the Ghost Rider. The flames in the Ghost Rider's eyes flickered, its emotions impossible to discern. However, none of the ferocious evil spirits dared to approach within 20 yards of it. With the frightening prowess of the Ghost Rider, even if Xueqi had risen to level 20 and brought along a 20-man elite team, he would still fail to kill the Ghost Rider. Moreover, there was a 90% chance they would be wiped out instead. The Ghost Rider was simply too strong. At this stage of the game, many guilds would occasionally encounter a few elite or special elite monsters, and they could usually deal with these monsters with only a party or a team. However, after the evolution of God's Domain, even only a level 5 chieftain-ranked monster could completely wipe out a 20-man team filled with level 5 elite players. Moreover, a monster over level 10 would have their intellect greatly boosted. A level 10 chieftain needed at least 30 level 15 elite players to deal with, and even then, the number casualties would be very high. As for a high-leveled chieftain like the Ghost Rider, it possessed a large variety of AoE damaging skills. It was also capable of commanding all the ghosts in the entire 100-ghost town. Although it was only a level 15 monster, its raid difficulty was even above that of a level 20 chieftain. Glorious Light had sent out thousands of its members to slay the Ghost Rider, paying a very heavy price. Currently, Xueqi lacked both resources and influence. Not mentioning the gap of 6 levels, he was also alone in this place. He had absolutely no chance of challenging the Ghost Rider. It seems I can only use that method. Xueqi observed the situation in the center of the plaza, inwardly running calculations and simulations in his mind. Right now, he stood over 300 yards from the fountain. If he wanted to obtain the ice blue devil flame, first and foremost, he needed to dispose of all these cursed evil spirits and ferocious evil spirits, then finally, deal with the Ghost Rider. As long as there was the tiniest of mistakes, he would end up dead and sent back to town. Xueqi took out 2 Tier 2 magic scrolls. These were the only 2 remaining treasured scrolls he had left. It would be extremely difficult for him to obtain another one in the future, as obtaining these scrolls largely depended on one's luck. If it weren't for obtaining the ice blue devil flame, he would not even be using such precious items. Phantom kill, Xueqi inwardly chanted, a doppelganger of him slowly forming into being. Xueqi immediately passed over a dozen frost grenades to his doppelganger. The doppelganger then rushed towards the plaza. The moment the doppelganger set foot into the plaza, the Ghost Rider discovered it immediately. The Ghost Rider's pearly white skull turned towards the doppelganger, the flames in its eye sockets flaring. All living beings must die. The Ghost Rider unsheathed the silver greatsword from its back, pointing it at the doppelganger. The blue flame surrounding its body abruptly moved to engulf the great sword as well, warping the great sword in shape. The pommel of the sword transformed into a white-colored skull and sinister-looking barbed tips appeared on the blade. Following the Ghost Rider's command, the countless cursed evil spirits in the plaza surged towards the doppelganger like a tidal wave. The doppelganger activated a speed scroll. It then tossed out a frost grenade, instantly turning a large group of cursed evil spirits into ice sculptures, before turning to escape. On Xueqi's side, he activated Windwalk and used a speed scroll, then activating the Ring of Nothingness. Once in the state of nothingness, Xueqi dashed towards the fountain like a fierce gale. As the duration of the state of nothingness quickly flew by, Xueqi's distance between the fountain shortened. 300 yards. 200 yards. 100 yards. As Xueqi was about to arrive at the fountain, his grip on the two Tier 2 magic scrolls tightened. His expression became abnormally calm as both his eyes fixated on the heart of the fountain. "Little rat, did you think that you could hide from my eyes?" The Ghost Rider suddenly appeared before Xueqi, and as if the flames in its eyes could see past all things, it spoke in a deep, disdainful tone. The Ghost Rider then raised its white bone greatsword, the faint blue flame surrounding the sword immediately raising the surrounding temperature to scorching hot levels. With an abrupt wave, the great sword transformed into a flowing stream of light, splitting apart the air as it descended towards Xueqi's head. How could it be? Xueqi was shocked. He did not doubt that the Ghost Rider's sword had the capability of instantly killing him. Hence, both his legs curved into a bend, his body similarly bending downwards. Like a cat arching its body, Xueqi instantly pulled out both the Abyssal Blade and the Crimson Blade, using parry with both swords. Suddenly, Xueqi's legs burst with strength, and with the addition of the strength from his lower back, Xueqi charged directly at the descending greatsword. The three swords colliding with each other created an explosive sound. The Ghost Rider's immense strength caused the ground that Xueqi stood on to crack apart. Dust and debris scattered. Xueqi's body as well was removed from the state of nothingness, revealed beside the fountain. Although Xueqi did not receive any damage from the collision, the flames of the white bone greatsword were just too blistering. As the Abyssal Blade was a magic weapon, there were no problems with it. However, the secret silver-ranked Crimson Blade was different. Not only was its durability greatly reducing, but the Crimson Blade itself also turned a glowing red and even showed signs of melting. Meanwhile, the Ghost Rider was slightly shocked that its sword did not yield it an immediate victory. However, it waved its sword for a second strike. The flames on the white bone greatsword soared, rising over 5 meters into the air as the sword slashed at Xueqi. This was the Ghost Rider's Devil Flame Slash. When this move was used, all beings in its path would lose their lives and reduce to ashes. However, contrary to expectations, Xueqi did not retreat when faced with this attack. Instead, he activated Defensive Blade as he rushed towards the ice-blue Devil Flame. Although the Ghost Rider's Devil Flame Slash landed on Xueqi, it had no effect at all. Instead, Xueqi made use of the wave of steam generated by the white bone greatsword to further increase his speed. Just as Xueqi was about to reach the ice-blue Devil Flame, as if they had been long since prepared for this moment, tens of ferocious evil spirits rushed at him. Become frozen. Xueqi threw out an intermediate frost grenade, turning all the ferocious evil spirits into ice sculptures. A bunch of rubbish. Seeing that its subordinates were actually so useless, the Ghost Rider loudly cursed. It abruptly leaped, its body landing and blocking Xueqi. Its great sword then slashed downwards. Die, little rat! Abyssal Bind. 9 pitch-black chains instantly bound the Ghost Rider, saving Xueqi's life. However, the Ghost Rider's strength was just too immense. In the blink of an eye, one of the chains snapped. Seeing this, Xueqi dared not stop his movements as he ran towards the fountain. Wretched little rat, you have truly angered me this time. The Ghost Rider roared as it saw that Xueqi was already beside the ice-blue Devil Flame. It struggled free from the chains binding it, its body turning into a shadow as it swept towards Xueqi, fully intending to dice him into chunks of meat. Due to the Ghost Rider's flames, the freezing effect of the frost grenades was also greatly weakened. The ferocious evil spirits were quickly thawed from their icy prisons, all of them rushing at Xueqi once more. Xueqi only revealed a faint smile at this sight. He spread open the deep blue-colored Tier 2 magic scroll in his hands. Within an instant, the water-attributed mana from the surrounding environment gathered above the magic scroll. Tidal overflow. Xueqi pointed the magic scroll towards the incoming Ghost Rider and ferocious evil spirits, a dark blue magic circle forming above the scroll. Immediately, a violent torrent poured out of the magic circle, engulfing the Ghost Rider and the ferocious evil spirits. The resulting water pressure even caused a deep pit to form on the ground. The power of a Tier 2 spell instantly killed all of the ferocious evil spirits. However, this magic had not greatly damaged the Ghost Rider as, during the moment of life and death, the Ghost Rider used its white bone greatsword to block the tidal overflow. As a result, the ferocious torrent only pushed back the Ghost Rider by over 30 yards. At such a distance, the Ghost Rider would only need a few steps to reach Xueqi. However, time was needed to retrieve the ice blue devil flame, time which the Ghost Rider would not give Xueqi. Just as the Ghost Rider took its first rage-filled step towards Xueqi, took out the last golden-colored scroll in his hands. The scroll gave off a sacred and inviolable strength, and it was also Xueqi's final trump card. Chapter 129. Ice Blue Devil Flame. Wretched little rat, feel the wrath of the flames of hell. The flames in the eye sockets of the Ghost Rider were capable of seeing through all things, and when it saw the scroll within Xueqi's hand, it revealed a human-like disdainful expression. Although the might of a Tier 2 magic was great, it was not enough to deal a heavy blow. Furthermore, how many Tier 2 magic scrolls could Xueqi possibly possess? If the other players knew the Ghost Rider's thoughts, they would definitely not think the Ghost Rider was an NPC, but an actual player. However, after the evolution of God's domain, the intellect of these high-ranking monsters was simply that high. At this moment, the faint blue flames surrounding the Ghost Rider all disappeared. The flames had all gathered on the white bone greatsword, boosting the flames by tenfold. All living beings must die, the Ghost Rider bellowed. The berserk roar resounded throughout the entire central plaza as the Ghost Rider abruptly threw the white bone greatsword in its hand. The instant the white bone greatsword left the Ghost Rider's hands, it transformed into a faint blue-colored flame serpent. The flame serpent was over 10 meters in length, and if coiled into a bundle, it would look like a small building. The serpent spread open its mouth, biting towards Xueqi. As the ferocious flame serpent grew closer and closer, Xueqi still had yet to activate the final Tier 2 magic scroll in his hand. This magic scroll was different from the other magic scrolls in that it needed some time to take effect after being activated. Hurry! Please hurry! Hurry, damn it! As the flame serpent flew closer and closer, Xueqi started panicking. However, the activation bar still increased slowly as always. Just as the flame serpent's widened mouth was about to devour Xueqi, the activation bar finished loading. System: a mysterious iron-ranked weapon or above is needed to be sacrificed. Confirm to sacrifice. Without hesitation, Xueqi chose to sacrifice. As for the sacrificed weapon, it was the crimson blade he held in his hand. At this moment, the crimson blade had already reduced to just scrap metal, and it would be meaningless for Xueqi to continue holding on to it. In the blink of an eye, the crimson blade in his hand released a bright golden glow, illuminating the entire central plaza. At the same time, with Xueqi as the focal point, a large golden magic circle appeared. The magic circle then ascended to the skies at high speeds. When the golden glow shone upon the flame serpent, it wailed in agony. Following which, the crimson blade transformed into a stream of light, shooting up to the air. In the next instant, the stream of light transformed into thousands of holy swords of light. The holy swords rained down from the sky, forming a holy domain in a 30-yard radius around Xueqi. The flame serpent, which was inside the domain, was immediately pinned down by tens of holy swords, its body unable to move even an inch. The flame serpent released an unwilling roar. Made it at the last second. Xueqi released a sigh as he looked at the thousands of holy swords surrounding him. The holy swords even encompassed the fountain as well. Immediately, Xueqi started retrieving the ice blue devil flame. This golden magic scroll was the most powerful Tier 2 life-saving magic scroll Xueqi possessed, the Holy Sword Seal. When used, all attacks within a 30-yard radius would be blocked, while all enemies within the affected area would be suppressed, preventing them from moving even an inch. However, the user would be unable to attack any of the enemies, and any outside enemies and attacks could not enter the holy domain. The duration of the holy domain was 36 seconds. Due to these effects, the Holy Sword Seal was considered the strongest defensive scroll amongst all Tier 2 magic scrolls. Meanwhile, Xueqi only needed around 5 seconds to collect the Ice Blue Devil Flame. In addition to the cast time of the return scroll, which needed 30 seconds, the total time was just about right. The Ghost Rider outside of the Holy Barrier instantly entered a violent fury. It pulled out a white bone great axe, swinging it at the Holy Barrier repeatedly like a god of death. Unfortunately, all its efforts yielded no results. The Holy Sword Seal was the strongest defensive skill amongst all Tier 2 skills. Not to mention a level 15 chieftain's attacks. Even if it were a normal Tier 3 skill, it could not easily destroy the Holy Barrier. Very quickly, Xueqi finished retrieving the scorching hot Tier 2 mysterious flame, the Ice Blue Devil Flame. Though his heart was currently filled with extreme excitement, he suppressed it and activated Defensive Blade. He then started the chant for the return scroll. Despicable little rat. I will definitely make you suffer a living hell. Seeing that Xueqi had already retrieved the Ice Blue Devil Flame, the Ghost Rider suddenly went berserk. The faint blue flames covering its body flared up several times greater than before, and it swung its white bone great axe to the ground with all its might. Boom! The entire central plaza started quivering. The ground of the plaza cracked apart, spitting out tens of pillars of flames, sending countless debris flying. Only now was Xueqi fully aware of how powerful the Ghost Rider was. The previous exchanges they had were not even a warm-up for the Ghost Rider. Fortunately, Xueqi had the strongest Tier 2 defensive skill on his side. If it were only a Tier 1 defensive scroll, it could not have fended off the Ghost Rider at all. Time flowed past little by little. Though the Ghost Rider poured out attacks on the Holy Barrier like a madman, fortunately, none of them made any actual difference. The Ghost Rider could only watch as Xueqi completed the chant for the return scroll. With only 2 seconds remaining for the chant to finish, the Holy Sword Shield's duration ended. At this moment, the Ghost Rider revealed a sinister smile as it dashed forward 2 steps, instantly arriving before Xueqi. With its axe raised, the Ghost Rider struck down at Xueqi. Pang! The axe was unable to advance any further when it was several centimeters away from Xueqi's body. Xueqi was shocked into a cold sweat. The Ghost Rider's speed was just too fast after becoming berserk. Even he could only barely see it move. Fortunately, he had activated Defensive Blade beforehand. The level 2 Defensive Blade could completely resist 4 melee attacks or 7 ranged attacks. Now that the skill blocked 1 attack, only 3 more blocks remained. Seeing that its attack did nothing, the flame in the Ghost Rider's eye sockets congealed slightly. It then started madly attacking Xueqi. Second strike. Third strike. Fourth strike. Very quickly, all 3 of Xueqi's remaining blocks were used up. The Ghost Rider then abruptly did a horizontal slash, intending to bisect Xueqi in half. At the moment of life and death, Xueqi finished the return scroll's chant a step ahead. He then transformed into a white glow, vanishing. The white bone axe only managed to slice the white glow in half, but not Xueqi. Ayo! The Ghost Rider was incomparably furious. The Ice Blue Devil Flame was its most valuable treasure. The reason it could turn from a cursed apparition into a Ghost Rider was all due to the Ice Blue Devil Flame. As long as it had another half a year, it could once more evolve and become a lord. With a lord's strength, it could launch attacks at the living beings in the nearby towns, slowly strengthening its army of ghosts. Now, however, the Ice Blue Devil Flame was snatched away by a wretched little rat right before his eyes. So, just how was he supposed to not become angry? After returning to Red Leaf Town, Xueqi could not help but wipe away the cold sweat from his forehead. If he were slower by even a millisecond, he would have definitely died. At that time, not only would he have wasted 2 Tier 2 magic scrolls, he would also need to wait a very long period before he could attempt to obtain the Ice Blue Devil Flame again. However, now that he had collected the Ice Blue Devil Flame, everything returned to his control. As for a high-ranking chieftain monster like the Ghost Rider, it was without a doubt a walking treasure trove. If Xueqi were to kill it off, he wondered just how many good items would drop. Before he went to the 100 Ghost Forest, he once considered forming his own team in the future in order to raid the Ghost Rider. However, after meeting it, Xuefeng decided that it would be too troublesome to deal with the Ghost Rider. It would be much better if he just sold the information about the Ghost Rider. For example, he could sell the information to Gentle Snow or Stabbing Heart. After all, large guilds all love to hunt for elite monsters in the wild, not to mention a chieftain-ranked monster. Every chieftain-ranked monster possessed a great sum of riches. Moreover, only these large guilds could gather hundreds of players in Red Leaf Town within a short amount of time. When they reached White River City, gathering even thousands of players would not be a problem. There would be no problems if thousands of players were used to deal with the Ghost Rider. Only, the losses in doing so would be somewhat heavy. However, with the information provided by Xuefeng, raiding the Ghost Rider would become much easier. Just as Xuefeng was about to go to the Forging Association to take a look at the Ice Blue Devil Flame's attributes, he discovered that many players in Red Leaf Town were currently discussing a single matter. Did you hear? Martial Union has already released an announcement that they will reward 10,000 credits to whoever kills Yifeng once. There is also a reward of 1,000 credits for killing Yifeng's teammates. The person who provides accurate information on Yifeng's whereabouts will also receive 2 silver coins as a reward. With this, Martial Union truly intends to start a blood feud with Yifeng. I've heard about it already. The topic has long since blown up in the official forums. Right now, there are plenty of players searching around. Even if they can't kill that expert called Yifeng, they could still kill one of his teammates. 1,000 credits per kill. This isn't a small number. This time, that expert called Yifeng will not have an easy time mingling in Red Leaf Town. Chapter 130. If it's war they want, then it's war they'll get. Red Leaf Town, slum area, the Enchanted Bar. Ironsword Lion and several of his subordinates currently held a drinking party in one of the private rooms on the second floor of the Enchanted Bar. They heartily downed mouthfuls of Old Tom gin one after another. An hour ago, Ironsword Lion posted a guild announcement on the official forums. He had placed a bounty on Yifeng, intending to start an irreconcilable feud with him. In an instant, Martial Union had become the center of attention of all players in God's domain. Who was Yifeng? Almost every veteran player within the region of White River City had heard of him. Right now, Yifeng's name was carved onto the glory list at the entrance of the team dungeon, Dark Moon Graveyard. After clearing the team dungeon, Yifeng even killed the top-tier expert of Martial Union, Ironsword Lion. He was then publicly acknowledged as one of the swordsman experts of God's domain. The recording of Yifeng killing Ironsword Lion even spread and was used as a learning model for many swordsmen. Aside from that, according to the rumors floating about, Yifeng's relationship with the snow goddess was not just a shallow one, and they might be having an affair. Otherwise, why would a goddess like Gentle Snow, instead of choosing the elite members of her own guild, choose to take an outsider along into the Dark Moon Graveyard? Many players had long since felt unsatisfied with Yifeng, and now with a bounty on him, many players were already tempted into action. Martial Union offered 10,000 credits for killing Xuefeng just once. Moreover, not only would they be able to obtain the prize money, but they would also obtain immense fame for killing a publicly acknowledged expert of God's domain. Such a feat would prove that their strength was exceptional. Right now, the major financial corporations around the world were beginning their investment into God's domain, recruiting players for their own workshops and guilds. As long as one could prove their strength, they could earn the good graces of these major corporations, receiving very high treatment. So why not go for it? Boss Ironsword, this move of yours is just too clever. With this announcement, that Yifeng is dead for sure this time. Even if he doesn't die, the target on his back will still annoy him to death. Other players will hunt throughout the entire day. He won't even be able to level up, drifting blood flattered as he took a drink. Humph. That's nothing at all. The best part has yet to come. Ironsword Lion sneered. Now that the son of a bitch has hidden, nobody can find him at all. However, it won't matter. I believe that we can find his teammates. As long as we kill his teammates to level 0, I hardly believe that he will remain hidden. As long as he dares reveal himself, absolute heaven will immediately take action. It will be his death when that time comes. Just as Ironsword Lion laughed colding, Xuefeng received a communication request from someone on his friend list. Are you all right? Gentle Snow abruptly asked. Xuefeng was slightly astonished. He did not imagine that even Gentle Snow would worry for him. He shook his head saying, "I'm fine. If things get too difficult for you to handle, I can utilize the strength of Ouroboros in White River City region to deal with Martial Union. That way, Martial Union will very quickly give up on you." Although Gentle Snow had downplayed her words, Xuefeng knew just how frightening it would be if Ouroboros went all out against Martial Union. Just the tens of thousands of Gentle Snow's fans alone were enough to extinguish Martial Union. Not to mention when the many experts of Ouroboros took action, Martial Union would not hold on for even a few days before needing to disband. "Thanks. I'll be careful," Xuefeng said in gratitude. Shortly after ending the call with Gentle Snow, another suddenly arrived. "Brother Yifeng, are you all right?" Stabbing Heart asked. "I'm fine," Xuefeng replied, a smile appearing on his face. He couldn't help but feel a sense of déjà vu. "It's good that you're all right. I saw Martial Union declare war on you. Moreover, they even placed a bounty on your head, paying as much as 10,000 credits for every kill. The bounty even includes several friends of yours, with 1,000 credits for each of them. Many of the experts I know have all taken an interest in you, and they will definitely look for trouble with you. It would be troublesome if you tangle with so many people, so it is best if you stay hidden for a while. Otherwise you can level up with us. With the Assassins Alliance's reputation, those experts will give way. If we meet any fools, my side can also help you deal with them." Xuefeng could not help but feel grateful towards Stabbing Heart's worries. He said, "Thanks, but I'll deal with this matter myself." On the contrary, would Brother Stabbing Heart be interested in buying some high-level equipment? "I have a few pieces, and I can sell them to you at a low price." Xuefeng still possessed plenty of the equipment he obtained from the Moonlight Forest. Right now, the prices for equipment were at their highest. Their values would depreciate if he sold them in the future, so he might as well sell them to Stabbing Heart right now, turning them into money. Xuefeng previously considered selling the equipment to Gentle Snow. However, Gentle Snow possessed a greater understanding of him than Stabbing Heart. It would be bad if she discovered something unnecessary about him. Hence, Stabbing Heart was the best choice to sell the equipment to in this case. "Really? With the new influx of players right now, our guild became sorely lacking in equipment. If you could sell them at a lower price and trade fully using credits, then I will buy as much as you have." Right now, the available equipment on the market was fervently contested over. Meanwhile, Stabbing Heart knew Xuefeng would have a lot of equipment. After all, Xuefeng managed to clear the Dark Moon graveyard. That meant that the other party dungeons would be easy pickings for him. Moreover, Xuefeng only had a single party under his command. He would definitely possess plenty of extra equipment. If Stabbing Heart could purchase all of it, it would be a huge boost to his guild. "I'm busy right now. How about we meet up and trade inside the hotel at the trade area?" Xuefeng asked. "That would be great. I also need some time to collect the money needed," Stabbing Heart replied with a smile. Following which, Xuefeng disconnected the call with Stabbing Heart. He then sent a message to Blackie and the others, telling them to be careful of ambushes from other players. Currently, with Blackie and the others' equipment and level, a dozen or so average players could not do anything to them at all. Xuefeng was only afraid of those elite players taking action. Blackie and the others would not have an easy time if they truly met up with such players. Hence, it would be best if they took precautions early on. After receiving the information, Blackie immediately led the others to depart from their current grinding spot. They went to an even more secretive location Xuefeng gave them. It would not be easily discovered, even by those pro players. "Martial Union, since you guys want war, then to war we shall go." Xuefeng's eyes flashed with a cold glint. Xuefeng's mind constantly considered how he should earn money in God's domain and his future development in the game. He did not imagine Martial Union would send a top-tier assassin at him, and even go further to place a bounty on his head. They had gone too far. Did Martial Union think he would be helpless against them? Xuefeng immediately logged onto the official forums. Using the name Yifeng, he sent out a declaration. "Martial Union, since you guys want war, then to war we shall go. I now place a bounty on all players from Martial Union. As long as you can kill a normal member of the guild, you will receive a reward of 100 credits or 1 silver coin. For one of the upper echelons of the guild, every kill will earn 1,000 credits or 10 silver coins. As for Ironsword Lion, I will pay you 5,000 credits or 50 silver coins for every time you kill him." This bounty will be effective until Martial Union completely disappears from Red Leaf Town. After Xueqi issued the post, it instantly caused a sensation in the forums of all of White River City region, giving rise to a raging tempest. A single independent player actually dared to declare war against a large guild. This was a first in the entire God's domain. Before this, one would only hear about guilds issuing bounties on a single player. It was the first time players had actually seen a single person place a bounty on an entire guild. The players who read Xueqi's post were completely astonished. If a large guild acted rich and overbearing, then so be it. However, they never imagined an independent player would also make such a move. Said player even placed bounties on every single member of a guild. Although it was only limited to the area within Red Leaf Town, a large guild would still have several hundreds of players there. The money needed for such a feat was impressive, and such a way of spending was no different than running water. Even tycoons would not dare play in such a ways. Chapter 131. Owning a Mysterious Flame. Shortly after Xueqi published the post, many players replied to it. No way! Such a high bounty! It would be great if I had chosen to start at Red Leaf Town. 1 silver coin just for the regular members. That's already an entire day's worth of my earnings. If I strive hard an entire day, I could kill at least 7 or 8 of them, which would be 700 or 800 credits. If I continued hunting for an entire month, the amount I can earn would be several times higher than my normal salary. Could it be a scam? Wasn't that Xueqi an expert in dire straits? Where did he get so much money? The commenter above is right. This is definitely a scam. This Xueqi is just trying to make a name for himself and win the pity of the masses, tricking us into opposing Martial Union. There were many players who voiced out their own varying opinions. Some supported Xueqi, while some felt disgusted with him. A large number of players cursed at Xueqi, and an even greater number refused to believe that Xueqi possessed that much money. After all, making a rough calculation, just killing all the members of Martial Union in Red Leaf Town once would cost a lot, not to mention killing them several times. Even a normal tycoon would not dare carry out such an action, much less a poor expert in dire straits. I am stabbing heart of Assassin's Alliance. I am in full support of Brother Xueqi, and I can guarantee that everything Brother Xueqi has said is the truth. If you aren't able to cash in your bounties from him, you can collect them from me instead. Just when everyone determined Xueqi was a scammer, Stabbing Heart's abrupt reply sent a tremor through the forums once more. Although Xueqi was famous, when compared to a large guild, his prestige was still sorely lacking. On the other hand, the words Stabbing Heart from the Assassin's Alliance had written were wholly different. Ignoring the fact that the Assassin's Alliance was a second-rate guild, possessing a member count in the tens of thousands, just the dozen years or so fame they had accumulated from other virtual reality games was strongly persuasive. Wah! The Assassin's Alliance's Stabbing Heart has appeared. Please let me join the Assassin's Alliance. Even Stabbing Heart has already shown himself, so the bounty must be real. This time, the players of Red Leaf Town are going to make a fortune. Not long after Stabbing Heart's appearance, another reply appeared which instantly caused the number of views on Xueqi's post to multiply by tens. Xueqi is my friend. I can guarantee his credibility. If there are any problems, you can find me to deal with them. The reply, indeed, belonged to the snow goddess, Gentle Snow, herself. Moreover, she was willing to make assurances for Xueqi. Those who cursed at Xueqi previously immediately shut up after her reply, because if they did not, the snow goddess fans might pummel them into meat paste. Xueqi, you are my idol. Please take me in as your disciple. I'm willing to do anything you ask. I guarantee it. Big brother Xueqi, do you have a girlfriend? Little sister is 18 years old, has a beautiful appearance, a sexy body, and wishes to become Big Brother's girlfriend. I can give birth to a bunch of little monkeys for Big Brother. Looking at Gentle Snow's reply, everyone immediately thought Xueqi was just too awesome. He had received the support of Stabbing Heart of Assassin's Alliance and the Snow Goddess of Ouroboros. This was not a treatment any ordinary expert would receive. Now that God's domain was so popular, Xueqi's future would be limitless. Slum area, the enchanted bar. Boss Iron's word, this is not good. Xueqi placed a bounty on our heads. An assassin suddenly rushed into the private room. Currently, Ironsword Lion happily drank away, his face flushed red. He did not think the alcohol in a virtual world could get a person get drunk. The alcohol had such a rich and mellow taste. Compared to the alcohol available in the real world, what he drank right now was much better. It was no wonder those players that tread on the path of darkness all loved to hang around in this place. At this moment, the person who rushed into the room shouting had immediately interrupting Ironsword Lion from enjoying his drink. Annoyed, he said, "Why are you shouting? It's not like the sky is falling. Which son of a bitch was it that placed a bounty on me? Let's see if I don't hack him into pieces." "Boss, I heard it was that Yi Feng who placed the bounty on us," Drifting Blood said in a daze. "Yi Feng? With him alone, he wants to place a bounty on us, Martial Union? Who would even believe his words?" Ironsword Lion laughed in contempt, swallowing another mouthful of Old Tom gin. "Boss Ironsword, it's true. If you don't believe it, take a look at Yi Feng's post. Right now, views on it have exceeded 1 million already," the assassin helplessly said. Originally, he did not believe that an independent player would dare place a bounty on a large guild, either. Anyone who dared would just be digging their own graves. Without great enmity against a guild, no one would not carry out such an action. Such an action was a major threat to the reputation of a guild, and they would definitely not let off any players who dared provoke them. If they did not kill the player until he quit the game, they would not let the matter rest. However, reality told him otherwise, as such an incident had truly occurred. Ironsword Lion still did not believe his subordinate's words. To place a bounty on the members of Martial Union, was this Yi Feng seeking death? Hence, Ironsword Lion checked out the official forums. Immediately, Ironsword Lion was dumbfounded. Yi Feng actually dared place a bounty on all of Martial Union. He really intended to fight until one side was gone. However, Ironsword Lion had forgotten that he was the one who first placed a bounty on Yi Feng. He had already forgotten his own declaration to fight until one of them was obliterated. After taking a closer look at the contents of the post, Ironsword Lion was truly shocked. Those who originally called Yi Feng a scammer had all shut their mouths now, and they all itched to slaughter the members of Martial Union. It was like they discussed competing over vegetables on the forum. When Ironsword Lion saw the price tag of his own bounty, he nearly exploded with anger. He had spent 1 million credits to hire Absolute Heaven to assassinate Yi Feng, and the bounty of 10,000 credits he publicly declared was just for entertainment. He was not hoping that someone would kill Yi Feng at all. His main goal was to kill Yi Feng's teammates. Now, however, Xueqi had tagged him with a bounty of 5,000 credits. In doing so, wasn't Yi Feng stating that he was far from being his equal? The most unbelievable thing was that Stabbing Heart and Gentle Snow had also stood out to show their support for Yi Feng. Ironsword Lion simply could not understand this situation. The bounty he placed was only on Yi Feng. Yet, why did these fellows mind other people's business? Gentle Snow was one thing, but why had Stabbing Heart appeared as well? He and the Assassin's Alliance had always minded their own business, and he had never provoked the Assassin's Alliance before. So, why was Stabbing Heart showing his support to Yi Feng? Gut. Ironsword Lion repeatedly said. His anger jerked him out of his drunken stupor. His expression turning extremely sinister as he coldly said, "Since he wants to play, then I'll play. Immediately place a bounty on anyone with the guts to kill any of our members. Also, increase the bounty on Xueqi's teammates to 2,000 credits per person. I want to see just who can tempt these players. Tell the ones below to be careful of their actions and form parties when they go out leveling." Yes. After Ironsword Lion finished giving out his instructions, the assassin turned and left. Following which, Ironsword Lion initiated contact with Absolute Heaven. He wanted Absolute Heaven to take action a little sooner, killing Yi Feng to absolve him of this anger. Elsewhere, Xueqi had rented an intermediate forging room in the Forging Association. Now that the ice blue devil flame was in his hands, Xueqi was prepared to use this time to train his forging, placing all his effort into making the Silver Dawn and other equipment. Xueqi walked to the furnace, cancelling the Tier 1 mysterious flame provided by the intermediate forging room. He then took out a dark blue flame from his bag. This dark blue flame was just like a flame sprite, joyfully jumping about in Xueqi's palm. Furthermore, the flame gave off a scorching heat, causing the temperature in the room to rise quickly. System. Do you wish to bind the ice blue devil flame as your personal mysterious flame? Bind? Don't tell me that I can only use it after it's bound? Xueqi did not know why, but although he held the ice blue devil flame in his hand, he was unable to glean any information about it. Even a Tier 1 mysterious flame was extremely rare throughout God's domain. In his previous life, he had never come into contact with a mysterious flame, and this was his first time learning that the flame needed to be bound before use. He recalled that the mysterious flame could be placed in the forging room of the guild. That way, all guild members were able to use it while not being able to take it away. So, just why was this mysterious flame a bound item? Xueqi stopped caring about the details. He immediately chose to bind the ice blue devil flame, intending to learn its effects. Chapter 132. Evolution Crisis. After Xueqi chose to bind the ice blue devil flame, suddenly, the ice blue devil flame started transforming. The small flame within Xueqi's palm momentarily burned fiercely, wrapping Xueqi's entire palm. Xueqi immediately felt a scorching heat surrounding his hand as if he had just dipped it into boiling water. Previously, he was unable to feel the high temperature of the ice blue devil flame, and only now did he truly experience its heat. Although he tried to store the flame back into his bag, no matter what he tried, there was no reaction from the ice blue devil flame. Instead, a binding loading bar appeared, slowly increasing. Successfully fused 3%, 4%, 5%. Isn't it a binding? Why did it turn into a fusion? Looking at the green-colored fusion bar, Xueqi felt a sense of unease. He could barely endure just the pain he currently felt. However, the temperature of the flame constantly rose, while the fusion rate of the flame was extremely slow. If this situation were to continue, Xueqi would, sooner or later, die from the pain alone. Just when Xueqi had called out the pain perception system's interface, intending to turn off all his senses of pain, his flaming hand no longer felt hot. Instead, he felt a cooling feeling on his palm as if it submerged in ice-cold water. Is the fusion complete? Xueqi took another look at the fusion bar. It showed 8%, still very far from reaching 100%. However, since it was no longer hot, Xueqi gave up the notion of turning off the pain perception system. However, another moment later, his flaming hand grew colder and colder as if it were inside an ice cube. Xueqi could not help but shiver at the chilling temperature. Just when he was unable to endure the cold any longer, the flame surrounding his hand turned hot once more. In such a way, the flame constantly alternated between hot and cold. Xueqi was also able to understand the reason for this phenomena. Just like its name, the ice blue devil flame possessed both ice and fire attributes. However, Xueqi no longer wished to endure torture by the ice blue devil flame, so he chose to turn off the pain perception system. During the fusion process of the ice blue devil flame, if pain perception falls below 20%, fusion will fail and cause a fixed amount of damage to the player. Are you sure you want to turn off the pain system? Crap. Xueqi could not help but curse at the despicable system. The system was clearly trying to toy with him. Moreover, it did not mention what sort of damage the fixed damage was. The fusion progress was already at 30%, so he couldn't just give up halfway. Helpless about the situation, Xueqi could only tune down his pain perception from the original 40% to 20%. That way he could, more or less, bear through the suffering. However, things were far from over. After the fusion bar reached 50%, the ice blue devil flame started spreading throughout Xueqi's entire body, turning Xueqi into a flaming man. Xueqi's entire body burned with a deep blue flame, just like the Ghost Rider. Compared to the Ghost Rider's flame, however, the flame burning Xueqi's body was much more pure and dazzling. Even the ground below his feet started showing signs of melting. The floor of the forging room had undergone special strengthening techniques specifically to resist high temperatures. The floors of the forging room were much stronger than even a secret silver weapon. However, this floor could still not withstand the flame surrounding Xueqi's body. One could just imagine the frightening temperature that was emitted by the flame. Right now, if someone were to attack Xueqi using a bronze weapon, the scorching flame would, most likely, melt the weapon before it could even come near Xueqi. Fortunately, Xueqi had long since familiarized himself with pain. He had also adjusted his pain perception down to 20%. Otherwise, He really could not endure the ever-changing temperatures of the ice blue devil flame. After enduring the same process for 20 minutes, the fusion of the ice blue devil flame finally completed. System: the ice blue devil flame has been bound as player Yi Feng's personal belonging. System: fusion of the ice blue devil flame completed. After undergoing the tempering of the ice blue devil flame, player's physique has improved. Strength plus 10, endurance plus 10, agility plus 10, ice resistance plus 20, fire resistance plus 20. Able to fully control the ice blue devil flame. Even this is possible? Xueqi was shocked. Ignoring how valuable the ice blue devil flame was to forgers, Xueqi did not think that it could even improve a player's physique after fusion. Xueqi had effortlessly obtained 30 attribute points and 20 points in both ice resistance and fire resistance. Resistance was extremely hard to obtain in God's domain, and a single point increase would have a large effect, not to mention an increase of 20 points. Such an increase was enough to instill despair in many mage classes. If fire magic could originally deal 100 damage to Xueqi, right now, it would be good if could even deal him 30 damage. Xueqi then chanted a name in his mind, a deep blue flame appearing in the middle of his palm. This was indeed the ice blue devil flame. Following Xueqi's thoughts, the flame freely moved about, growing and shrinking. Ice blue devil flame, tier 2 mysterious flame. Can be used in battle to increase damage by 20%, and an additional 40% damage to ice or fire attributed skills. Simultaneously, it increases the success rate for potion making, forging, and cooking by 10%. These attributes had completely surpassed Xueqi's imagination. In his previous life, he had never received any information regarding mysterious flames being capable of increasing a player's battle prowess. It was also impossible for the mysterious flames to only increase a player's battle prowess in this life. Hence, the only possibility was that the players who obtained mysterious flames did not leak a single word about it, silently enjoying the fortune. Just the mysterious flame's ability to increase the success rate of forging and potion making was sufficient to send all the major powers in God's domain into an uproar. If the information about it being capable of increasing a player's battle prowess leaked, the competition over mysterious flames would become much more intense. Forgers and potion makers would have no chance to obtain a mysterious flame for themselves at all. Mysterious flames were always said to give the greatest benefits to potion making and forging, but in Xueqi's view, elementalists who learned potion making were the ones who gained the greatest benefits. Originally, an elementalist's damage was very frightening. They were like human cannons. If they were to receive an upgrade to their ice and fire attributed skills, it would leave others speechless. In addition, the ice blue devil flame originally increased its user's damage by 20%, which meant that an elementalist who had the ice blue devil flame would have their damage output increased by 60%. The elementalist possessing the ice blue devil flame could easily kill an MT of the same level with the same quality of equipment in just 2 or 3 moves. Although Xueqi was not an elementalist, the ice blue devil flame still provided a relatively large increase to his battle strength. With the ice blue devil flame, Xueqi felt that the future development of his skills should be more directed towards the fire or ice attributes. That way, he could reap the greatest benefits from using the ice blue devil flame. Following which, Xueqi took out a pile of hard stones and started making advanced whetstones, increasing his forging proficiency. The success rate for making an advanced whetstone was 60%, with the possibility of increasing proficiency by 1 point with each success. Although the increase was not as much as when he made bronze equipment, the time needed to make an advanced whetstone was much shorter. Xueqi only needed to burn the hard stones in the ice blue devil flame for a short while, followed by a couple of knocks from his hammer. Then he would have completed an advanced whetstone. If Xueqi were to make glimmer chest plates, he would not be able to sell them for a lot of money. After all, there were various guilds currently selling that item. On the other hand, making the high-level bronze equipment and mysterious iron equipment from the forging designs he bought from Stonemer Town was not very efficient. It would be much better for him to just upgrade to an intermediate forging apprentice, increasing his success rate a little earlier. At that time, it would not be too late for him to start using those forging designs. Meanwhile, while Xueqi made the advanced whetstones, tension rose throughout the entire Red Leaf town. However, it was not only due to the matter of Xueqi and Martial Union placing a bounty on each other. There was also the crisis after God's domain's evolution. Due to the difficulty of the monsters in the wild increasing, the large influx of newcomers, and Xuefeng's stock clearance of the auction house, the prices of items rapidly increased. Within a short 2 hours, the prices of items had already doubled, causing many players to voice out their complaints. Originally, the money they earned within a day was small. They also needed to buy many items they needed in the wild, such as food and beverages, return scrolls, and such items. There were also the regeneration potions and mana recovery potions. However, the prices for all these items had suddenly skyrocketed. Amongst the items with inflated prices, the highest was equipment. Previously, 20 copper coins was sufficient for a player to purchase a piece of level 2 common equipment. Right now, they would need 40 copper coins to do so. As for bronze equipment and higher, the increase in their prices was even greater. However, without good equipment, how could they hunt monsters? Hence, the majority of the players right now all held the thought that they had to obtain a good piece of equipment no matter what, even at the cost of saving up the money meant for potions. With good equipment, they could easily look for a party to join. Their efficiency of killing monsters would also rise as a result, and it was only a matter of time before they earned back their money. As a result, the prices of equipment constantly rose. Similarly, this phenomenon caused plenty of players, who were wealthy in real life, to purchase coins using credits for purchasing equipment, causing the price of coins to skyrocket, too. Looking at this situation, the players in Red Leaf Town became even more attentive towards the bounty put out by both Xueqi and Martial Union. The players, who were previously uninterested in participating, started to take action. There were many experts who began searching for Xueqi and his teammates, and there were some who set their sights on Martial Union. Forming a party to hunt Yifeng's party. Must be level 6 or above, with a complete suit of bronze equipment. Those who fulfill the conditions, please gather at my location. Forming a party to hunt members of Martial Union. Must be level 5 or above. Those who wish to make a quick buck, don't miss this chance. Meanwhile, there were plenty of players shouting out party recruitments in the plaza of Red Leaf Town. However, their grinding targets were no longer monsters, but players. Suddenly, Xueqi and Martial Union's game of hunting lured the players throughout all of Red Leaf Town. Chapter 133. Fire Dance. Inside the Red Leaf Forest, where the green grass was plush like a cushion. A party of level 5 players currently surrounded a group of 3 level 5 forest wolves. The players advanced and retreated in battle familiarly, steadily pushing the 3 forest wolves towards defeat. In a short moment, one of the forest wolves died from the large fireball that flew at it, while the remaining 2 forest wolves only had a small amount of HP remaining. Leader, we're already level 5. We're tired of constantly killing the same forest wolves. Let's just kill the level 6 grassland lion cubs. I hear the loot is quite good. Moreover, everyone can obtain a larger share of experience there, the bold and powerful shield warrior said as he blocked a forest wolf's attack. Forget it. In these troubled times, you forget that everyone from our Martial Union has a bounty on their heads. Each one of us is worth 1 silver coin, and there are plenty of people looking for this transaction. The party leader, an elementalist, shook his head. He felt that the shield warrior's suggestion was too risky. Leader, since when have you become such a coward? A berserker with waxy skin curled his lips, asking disdainfully. Before, when we snatched elite monsters and equipment and even killed the other players, I've never seen you reluctant before. Regardless of what other people say, Martial Union is a famous large guild in Red Leaf Town. I don't believe that those people would be so foolish, daring to kill us. Even if they come, we can kill them off and make a quick buck. The elementalist party leader nodded, thinking that his subordinate's words sounded logical. In Red Leaf Town, only Martial Union bullied others. Whoever dared provoke them was only seeking death. The elementalist party leader then said, "All right, after we kill these 2 forest wolves, we'll go kill the grassland lion cubs." "Oh yeah." The shield warrior grinned, using his shield to send one of the forest wolves flying. He then followed up with a heroic strike on the other forest wolf, taking away its remaining HP. Immediately after the party from Martial Union killed the final forest wolf, they suddenly discovered that they were surrounded by a team of over 20 players. Moreover, every one of these players was red-named, and clearly they had already killed a lot of players. Brothers, our luck is good this time. They are all from Martial Union. A red-named female assassin with a provocative body revealed herself from stealth. She wore a smile as she looked at the players from Martial Union. The members of Martial Union immediately felt chills through their bodies. This female assassin was clearly the scout for this entire team. Although she should have been hiding near their party this entire time, they did not detect her presence at all. "What are you all trying to do?" the Elementalist party leader asked in a cold tone, his eyes observing his surroundings. "What are we doing?" The female assassin gleefully smiled at the party leader from Martial Union, saying with a laugh, "Of course, we are here to do some happy things with you. Sister Fire Dance, why are you wasting your breath on them? Let's just kill them and be done with it," one of the rangers standing in the encirclement said, feeling restless. His bow was already knocked and aimed at Martial Union's cleric. The shield warrior from Martial Union knew that they were not a match for these group of players. Hence he intimidated. "You guys better think through this. You will not have a good ending if you become Martial Union's enemies. By the time we take care of that Yifeng, we will take revenge on those who dared attack the members of our guild. You guys best consider your actions properly. Don't make a mistake." Is Martial Union really that amazing? The female assassin named Fire Dance played with the dagger in her hand. Curling up her lips slightly, she said, "Why have I heard that you guys suffered a crushing defeat at the hands of my idol Yifeng? Moreover, since you guys dared make trouble with my idol, it's no different than seeking for trouble with me. You should all just die right here. Brothers, take action. Don't let any of them escape." Hearing Fire Dance's command, the 20-plus players surrounding Martial Union rushed forward. Meanwhile, the female assassin named Fire Dance suddenly appeared behind the party leader from Martial Union. She immediately knocked the elementalist unconscious, her icy cold dagger slashing across his neck. She then followed up with a backstab and eviscerate, instantly taking the party leader's life, her techniques both quick and efficient. The other members of Martial Union were extremely shocked by this scene. Their hearts stopped beating completely. Immediately, they turned and ran. However, would it be that easy to run away? Immediately, the ice walls of elementalists blocked their escape, followed by ice spheres reducing their movement speeds. Several berserkers separately used charge on their targets, followed by breaks, greatly reducing the movement speeds of the members of Martial Union once more. With their fleeing speed slower than even a tortoise, the members of Martial Union died within moments. "Tidy up the loot quickly. We'll be looking for our next target," Fire Dance issued her command. "These fellows sure are fat. They have contributed 3 pieces of bronze equipment to our inventory. It really makes you wonder just how fat Yifeng's party, which is much more powerful, is," a lean berserker said as he collected the dropped items. He couldn't help but drool when he gazed at the bronze equipment the members of Martial Union left behind. "Water Buffalo, are you having ideas about my idol's teammates?" Fire Dance looked at the berserker, smiling faintly as she asked. Immediately, the berserker called Water Buffalo quivered, hurriedly laughing as he replied, "How would I even dare? I was only fantasizing in my mind a little. If I really did look for trouble with them, I would only be there to die at their hands." "Humph. At least you know your limits," Fire Dance snorted. She then turned, departing in search of her next target. Red Leaf Town, slum area, the enchanted bar. Pang! Ironsword Lion angrily smashed the alcohol bottle in his hand after seeing the report from his subordinates. "Who can tell me what is going on exactly? Why is it only our members are dying, while not even a shadow of Yifeng's teammates can be found?" According to the report from his subordinates, within a short 2 hours, of all the members of Martial Union stationed in Red Leaf Town, 58 of them had already died once. Amongst those who died, 9 of them were even the top echelons or elites of their guild. Not only had they lost a level as a result of dying, they even dropped some of their equipment. This was a huge loss for Martial Union's Red Leaf Town branch. Moreover, Ironsword Lion was required to compensate them for their losses. Besides that, the large number of deaths had largely impacted the loyalty of the members of Martial Union. Many started to think of leaving the guild as they did not wish to be dragged into this game of hunting. If this matter did not quickly resolve, the Martial Union branch at Red Leaf Town would, sooner or later, break up. Boss Ironsword, could they be hiding? Why don't we increase the bounty on them? That might tempt the true experts, Drifting Blood suggested. Fine, increase the bounty immediately. I don't believe that we can't find them, Ironsword Lion nodded his head. He then continued saying, remember, as long as you receive any information, immediately contact Absolute Heaven. Leave it to me, boss. I'll relay the information immediately. Inside an intermediate forging room, Shifeng repeated the same task, over and over. Shifeng took out a hard stone, immediately using the ice blue devil flame to burn it. He then used the runic hammer to tap at it a few times, very quickly forming a high-quality advanced whetstone. System. Advanced whetstone has been successfully forged. Forging proficiency increased by 1 point. Obtained 200 EXP. Advanced whetstone, consumable. When used on a level 20 weapon or below, recovers the durability by 8 to 12 points. Simultaneously, it increases the damage of the weapon by 3% for a duration of 30 minutes. Number of usage remaining, 3. In the later stages of the game, the value of this item would become greater and greater. The reason was that the damage to a weapon increased as monsters' prowess increased. It was especially true for monsters that were level 7 and above, as some of them possessed skills that could greatly reduce the durability of a weapon. Hence, whetstones became one of the necessities when grinding and battling in God's Domain's wilds. Compared to a normal whetstone, not only could the advanced whetstone recover a weapon's durability, but it could also increase the weapon's sharpness, increasing the weapon's damage by 3%. This effect could even compare to a buff, and it would greatly benefit melee players. There would be plenty of melee classes scrambling over this item, and they would still be willing to buy more after buying the first. No player would willingly reduce their damage when fighting monsters, even if it were just a 3% reduction. Right after Shifeng finished the advanced whetstone. System. Congratulations! You are the first player to be promoted to an intermediate forging apprentice. Obtained 50,000 EXP rewarding 10 runic steel. Chapter 134. Silver Lake. After seeing the system notification, a faint smile appeared on Shifeng's face. He finally received the promotion to intermediate forging apprentice after making over 400 advanced whetstones. However, to obtain the promotion to advanced forging apprentice, he needed 3,000 proficiency points. He could not achieve such an amount in a short period. Shifeng looked at his experience bar. It was currently at 94% of level 9, only 6% away from the level 10 threshold. As long as he strived a little further, he would break through that threshold. In God's Domain, there was a huge boost in attributes every 10 levels. When players obtained their first 10 levels, it was an indication that they could enter a city. In a city, players could enjoy various benefits. Not only could they purchase resources not sold in towns, but they could also obtain plenty of high-leveled quests. Players could even purchase bronze equipment at a low price, though that depended on the player's luck. It would also be much easier for players to make money once they reached a city. Furthermore, players could use the teleportation gates available in the city to transfer to high-level monster areas. They would not need to waste a huge amount of time on travel, quickly arriving at level 10 or higher monster areas. Moreover, the game of God's Domain only truly began after entering a city. When that time came, the players from tens or hundreds of towns would gather in a city. A single city would have, at the very least, over 100,000 players. Moreover, White River City was one of the 5 largest cities located in Star Moon Kingdom. The number of players that would gather there would exceed 1 million. At that time, the various guilds could centralize their influence completely, displaying the true strength of a guild. This would also increase the competition between guilds. It would be a lot less peaceful when the various guilds competed over the limited resources available. This was the case with all virtual reality games. The resources available were limited, and the best resources and leveling spots would only number so many within a city's region. However, with a huge amount of players, if one wanted to level up and upgrade themselves quickly, they needed to compete over said resources. As a result, those without strength would be eliminated and left behind. Not to mention an independent player, even a small guild would have absolutely no chance of surviving inside a city. The large guilds would all monopolize the various high-level resources and valuable leveling areas, while the small guilds and independent players could only hold themselves up in locations with inferior resources. Hence, if one could set foot in the city even a moment earlier, the competition they would face would greatly lessen. However, that did not necessarily mean that one would be safe just by entering the city ahead of others. Instead, the more advantages a person possessed before entering the city, the better off one would become afterward. Take Blackwing City for example. If an average player were to enter the city, they would only be there to gain some knowledge and experience, a purely time-wasting endeavor. However, if it were one of the upper echelons of a large guild, things would be quite different. Aside from being able to form a relationship of mutual exchange with guilds from other countries, they could purchase items unique to Blackwing City in bulk. Such benefits would lead to huge improvements of a guild. Right now, Xueqi's level was ranked number 1 in White River City, and the others would need at least 2 or 3 days before they could catch up. During this time, Xueqi wanted to increase the gap further. Only then could he carve out a place for the Zero-Wing Guild he wanted to establish in White River City. So this is runic steel? As expected, this is a treasure. Xueqi took out a piece of blue steel, filled with magic, from his bag, joy filling his entire being. In Xueqi's previous life, many forgers competed madly for just a piece of runic steel. Even if they managed to buy one, they would treat it like their baby. They would not use it lightly. Meanwhile, Xueqi possessed 10 pieces of runic steel right now. Runic steel, fine gold rank consumable. When used to forge level 50 fine gold equipment or below, increases success rate by 10%. There is a fixed chance to increase the forged equipment's rank by 1, up to a maximum of fine gold rank. No matter how one looked at it, runic steel was significantly better than the 100 refinement steel. Moreover, it could even increase an equipment's rank. Ha ha ha! With this runic steel, my success rate for forging the Silver Dawn will be even greater now. Xueqi had purchased all the materials required to forge the Silver Dawn at the auction house. In addition to the materials he had purchased before, he could forge a total of 16 Silver Dawns. Just the cost alone for a single Silver Dawn was over 37 silver coins. Even an elite party needed to raid a hard mode party dungeon half a dozen times before collecting such an amount. Hence, Xueqi only chose to forge the Silver Dawn after he was promoted to intermediate forging apprentice. Xueqi took out the forging design for the Silver Dawn, clicking to learn it. He began the process of forging his first Silver Dawn. Previously, before he had obtained the Ice Blue Devil Flame, his success rate for forging the Silver Dawn was only 32%. After the addition of the Ice Blue Devil Flame, the success rate increased to 42%. If Xueqi used the runic steel, he could further increase it to 52%. A mere intermediate forging apprentice's chance of successfully forging a secret silver weapon was just over 50%. Even a master forger would be flabbergasted at this success rate. The reason was that a basic master forger only possessed a 30% success rate when forging a secret silver equipment, and only a grandmaster forger had a 50% success rate. Xueqi carefully read through the process of making the Silver Dawn before refining the materials. Xueqi first used the Philosopher's Stone to obtain a high-purity refinement of the materials. He then placed the materials into the Ice Blue Devil Flame, waiting for them to merge. Xueqi possessed 100% control over the Ice Blue Devil Flame, so he could merge the materials together to an exceptional degree. However, Xueqi chose not to include the incomparably precious runic steel in the forging process this time. The first attempt was only for Xueqi to familiarize himself with the forging process of the Silver Dawn. Moreover, he only possessed 10 pieces of runic steel, and each one of them was worth at least 1 gold coin. The runic steel was extremely hard to obtain, and using it now would just be a waste. If other forgers knew that Xueqi intended to use the runic steel to forge the Silver Dawn, they would curse at Xueqi in anger. The Silver Dawn was only a level 10 secret silver weapon, yet, Xueqi actually thought of using the runic steel to forge it. Such an action was simply maddening. 10 minutes later, the refinement process was complete. Xueqi looked at the product of his refinement with satisfaction. He then placed the piece of metal on the anvil, using the runic hammer to pound at it. Sparks flew about as the sounds of the hammer striking the metal resounded throughout the forging room. Xueqi was extremely careful with every strike, afraid that a single misstep would affect the final shape of the Silver Dawn. After striking at the metal hundreds of times, sweat drenched Xueqi. Satisfied, he clicked the generate button. Following which, the red-hot metal began to take shape, transforming into a silver-colored long sword. He investigated the weapon's information. After a full 5 seconds. System. Forging of the Silver Dawn has failed. Xueqi looked at the weapon's attributes, discovering that it was only a level 10 mysterious iron weapon. Indeed, the forging failed. However, Xueqi was not overly disappointed at the results. Although the success rate stated was 42% on the surface, due to it being Xueqi's first time forging the Silver Dawn, the actual success rate was much lower. Success was impossible, no matter how one looked at it. If he succeeded, it would be a true miracle. With a failure in hand, Xueqi summarized his experience into a lesson for himself. The reason Xueqi could lead a third-rate guild like Shadow to become one of the top second-rate guilds was not due to any inborn talent of his. Instead, it was because Xueqi always summarized and learned from his experiences. If others gained experiences from success, Xueqi gained experiences from failure. After reviewing for over 10 minutes, Xueqi started forging a second time. However, after 20 minutes or so, it was another failure. The weapon he forged was still mysterious iron ranked, though with a slight improvement. The attributes of the weapon were slightly better. Xueqi continued forging, and failing, for a total of 6 tries, taking a loss of over 2 gold coins. Feeling that he was mostly familiar with the forging procedures, Xueqi started his 7th attempt of forging the Silver Dawn. He even used a runic steel this time. Soon after, Xueqi refined, hammered, and shaped the lump of metal. Clicking generate. Suddenly, an exquisite-looking light blue-colored long sword formed. There were even mysterious runes carved on the blade of the sword, the runes possessing faint traces of magic circulating within. With a glance, one could immediately tell that it was no ordinary weapon. Xueqi immediately grew excited. He knew that he lucked out this time, and it was not as simple as a mere success. I wonder what the attributes are? Xueqi clicked to check the weapon's attributes. He had to wait a total of 10 seconds before the system could give him a conclusion. System, runic steel's effect triggered. Rank increased by 1. System, black steel insignia effect triggered. Attributes increased. System, Silver Lake has been successfully forged. Forgery proficiency increased by 3 points. Obtained 10,000 EXP. Chapter 135. Personal Exclusive. The series of system notifications startled Xueqi slightly. He had only made some slight adjustments to the Silver Dawn based on his habits and battle styles. He did not think his luck would be so heaven-defying. Even out of 100 tries, both effects definitely won't trigger together again. One could just imagine how greatly enhanced the Silver Lake's attributes are. To what extent of an increase, however, nobody knew. The runic steel could upgrade an item's quality by 1 rank. That meant that secret silver rank could be upgraded to fine gold rank. As for black steel's insignia, it could increase the attribute values of a piece of equipment, and the increase would normally be between 5% to 25%. If the weapon's attributes rose by 20%, it would be the equivalent of having upgraded the weapon's quality by an entire rank. If both effects stacked with each other, the refined light blue longsword would, at the very least, be a top-tier fine gold weapon, with the possibility of even being a dark gold weapon. A level 10 dark gold weapon. At this stage of the game, aside from magic weapons, it was the most powerful weapon available, period. Immediately, Xueqi held up the Silver Lake that gave off a blue glow, checking its attributes. Silver Lake, fine gold rank, one-handed sword. Level 10. Equipment requirement. Strength 45. Agility 80. Attack power plus 78. Strength plus 18. Agility plus 22. Attack speed plus 1. Durability 70/70ths. Additional passive skill. Flowing Shadow. Creates an afterimage effect while attacking. Simultaneously, the faster the attack speed is, the greater the damage caused. Damage can be increased up to a maximum of 50%. These attributes completely surpass that of a top-tier fine gold weapon. With the additional skill, Flowing Shadow, the Silver Lake was absolutely comparable to a dark gold weapon. The attributes combine both speed and strength. As expected, it is as I thought. The more he looked at the Silver Lake, the greater his love for it became. In God's domain, The equipment forged generally had better attributes than the equipment dropped by the bosses from dungeons. Moreover, the forged ones were more suitable for specific classes. Hence, many experts preferred to hire master forgers to craft them custom weapons and equipment personally. Hence, master forgers were extremely welcomed and respected in God's domain. The experts of God's domain, especially, loved to make friends with master forgers. Master forgers also held great influence within a guild. Within God's domain, nobody would rashly offend a master forger. Who knew which expert a master forger had forged a weapon for before? If one carelessly provoked a master forger, they might end up assassinated or hunted by a large number of experts. After all, these experts all wished to earn a favor from a master forger, calling it in for custom equipment. Only suitable equipment would be the best equipment. Although these personalized weapons and equipment were only slightly better than equipment dropped from dungeons, the battle prowess a player could display while using the equipment would increase many-fold. Regarding these sorts of weapons and equipment, they were all referred to as exclusive equipment. They were only suited to a single individual or a certain type of individual. The Silver Lake was a personal exclusive weapon that Xueqi created for himself. If other swordsmen used the Silver Lake, it would only display the power of a normal fine gold weapon. However, in Xueqi's hands, it could display the prowess of a dark gold weapon. Previously, Xueqi had lost the Crimson Blade in battle, and he just happened to be in need of a new weapon. This Silver Lake would suffice for Xueqi's use for a very long time, and he would not need a new weapon anytime soon. Now that he had crafted his first personal exclusive weapon, Xueqi felt much more assured. He then continued forging more Silver Dawns. After successfully forging the fine gold-ranked Silver Lake, it became much easier for Xueqi to forge the Silver Dawn. 2 days quickly passed. During the day, Xueqi would move some items to his new house, decorating his new home with some furniture. He then trained his body as usual. At night, after he entered God's domain, he forged equipment without stopping. In such a way, his time was fully occupied. After training his body for a time, in addition to the constant aid of the nutrient fluids, Xueqi could feel a clear improvement in his body's physique. Also, his mind felt much more clear. Currently, his physique had only caught up with the average standard of the athletes in his university. As long as he persevered for another fortnight, he might be able to reach the standard of the Fighting and Martial Arts Society's members. At that time, his body could absorb nutrient fluids more efficiently, allowing his mind to become much more active. Meanwhile, during the nights in God's domain, aside from occasionally visiting the auction house to purchase materials and appreciation items, Xueqi had conducted a large transaction with Stabbing Heart. Xueqi sold the level 5 to level 7 bronze equipment he possessed in bulk, earning himself over 2 gold coins and over 200,000 credits. Other than that, Xueqi spent the remainder of his time cooped up in the intermediate forging room. Not only did he forge Silver Dawns, but he also forged plenty of equipment using the bronze and mysterious iron forging designs he obtained from Blackbeard. After he spent all his money on forging equipment, he continued making advanced whetstones. In a period of 2 days, Xueqi had forged a total of 31 Silver Dawns, over 200 pieces of level 8 bronze equipment, over 100 pieces of level 9 bronze equipment, over 100 pieces of level 10 bronze equipment, over 60 mysterious iron weapons, over 70 pieces of mysterious iron equipment, and over 2,000 advanced whetstones. If other forgers saw at these numbers, they might faint from shock. Xueqi's forging speed was simply outrageous. However, the main reason Xueqi could create so many items was his low rate of failure. After forging so much equipment, Xueqi's level had long since reached level 10, and he was not that far from level 11. As long as Xueqi desired, he could go to White River City at any time. However, he did not plan to make that journey yet. At the very least, he wanted to make a trip to Blackwing City first, before going to White River City. According to Xueqi's understanding, the average players were mostly at level 6, the pro players at level 7, while only those leveling madmen who played the game 24 hours a day might be level 9. Hence, Xueqi was not in a hurry. Going from level 9 to level 10, the EXP needed was not a small amount. At the very least, it would take over a day to obtain it. Just as Xueqi prepared to go to the auction house and sell a few more glimmer chestplate forging designs, Xueqi suddenly discovered an interesting matter. The members of Martial Union, whom he could previously see on the streets, were nowhere to be found. Could Martial Union have disbanded already? Xueqi was slightly puzzled. He then called out the bounty system governed by the main god system, checking just how many members of Martial Union have died during this period. The collection of bounties in God's domain could be done through the main god system. As long as a player completed a bounty and submitted the appropriate information, the main god system would verify the information. After verification, the bounty previously registered and stored by the employer would be handed over to the player. There was absolutely no need for the employer to personally verify all information submitted, wasting a lot of time in the process. Previously, Xueqi stored 5 gold coins and 1,000,000 credits in the main god system, enough to burn Martial Union for a month or two. However, now that Xueqi took a look, he was immediately dumbfounded. The 5 gold coins he placed were no more, while there was still around 800,000 remaining of the 1,000,000 credits. The bounty on a normal member of Martial Union was only 1 silver coin or 100 credits. 5 gold coins meant 500 kills. If it were an elite member of the guild, the bounty was 10 silver coins or 1,000 credits, and 5 gold coins was the equivalent of 50 kills. Such a number was sufficient to send all the elites of Martial Union in Red Leaf Town back to level 0. Furthermore, there was still more than 100,000 credits used up. It had only been slightly more than 2 days since Xueqi announced the bounty, and yet, so much was gone already. With this, nearly all members of Martial Union stationed within Red Leaf Town had died, several times to boot. This was a devastating and irrecoverable strike to Martial Union in Red Leaf Town. It was no wonder there were no players from Martial Union on the streets. After looking at the numbers and video evidence, Xueqi only had one word in his heart. Awesome! Having suffered to such a degree had definitely crippled Martial Union. Among all the kill counts, a female assassin held the record for the most kills. She slaughtered over 50 members of Martial Union, and none were repetitive. This attracted Xueqi's attention. After watching the recordings of the female assassin in action, Xueqi was incomparably shocked. The girl's techniques were extremely skilled, and in battle, her usage of skills was simply perfect. She was absolutely one of the rare expert assassins. Fire Dance. Xueqi looked at the name displayed at the number 1 spot, his mouth softly reciting it. According to his memories, there didn't seem to be an expert female assassin called Fire Dance. At this moment, a call request suddenly came from Blackie. What happened, Blackie? Xueqi knew that Blackie would not randomly call without a purpose. The only possibility was that something had happened. Brother Feng, I don't know what happened, but those bastards from Martial Union found us. They also sent many of their elite players to surround us. Among them, there were also a few experts from Martial Union that I have never seen before. We went all out to break out of the encirclement, but because of my inability, Cola sacrificed himself and stayed behind to cover for us. The others also died as they tried to open a path. Right now, Lonely Snow and I are the only ones left alive. Brother Feng, you need to be careful. You definitely mustn't allow them to discover you. If they do, you won't even have the time to use a return scroll, Blackie said with an extremely hurried tone. Both rage and resistance filled his voice. Ever since he started grinding for levels with Cola and the others, adventuring and going through life and death together, they had long since formed a very deep bond. Now, however, to secure his escape, Cola and the others took the initiative to stay behind and stall the enemies, while he could only run away. Thinking up to this point, even more anger filled Blackie over his own inadequacy. If he could become slightly stronger, he might not have to watch his teammates die, one after another. Where are you? I'll come immediately. Hearing Blackie's report, Xueqi burned with rage. However, he remained calm as he spoke. Brother Feng, you mustn't come here. There are too many players from Martial Union right now. Moreover, there are several experts here as well. I'll try to think of a way to escape with Lonely Snow, Blackie advised. The only reason he contacted Xueqi was that he worried Xueqi might accidentally encounter the players from Martial Union. It was not that he did not believe in Xueqi's strength, but the players from Martial Union simply numbered too many. There were also many experts among them. Xueqi would have no chance against them. Tell me where you two are now, Xueqi said each word coldly, an icy glint flashing in his eyes. Hearing Xueqi's grave tone, Blackie knew that Xueqi was serious. Moreover, Xueqi was very angry. Helpless, Blackie said, "We're in Gale Valley." "All right, I'll be there immediately. Be careful not to get surrounded," Xueqi said. "Lonely Snow and I have escaped into the inner regions of the Gale Valley. Shrubs and fog fill this place, so they should not easily discover us." Blackie felt that he should not have contacted Xueqi. That way, he wouldn't have dragged Xueqi into this mess as well. "Good then. Since you can't use return scrolls, someone might be using some special skill to stop you. However, you too can still use isolation scrolls. That way, it will be much harder for them to discover you. Find a good place to hide." "I'll arrive soon." Xueqi disconnected the call. Although Xueqi did not know how Martial Union managed to find another group of players, even with experts leading them, they were gravely mistaken if they thought they could easily bully him. Xueqi dashed towards Gale Valley. Chapter 136. Resonant Sword. Gale Valley was quite far from Red Leaf Town. For the sake of speed, Xueqi used a speed scroll without hesitation. Instantly, Xueqi's speed soared, his body leaving behind afterimages as he ran. "Crap! Who's that? How can he be so quick? Is he hacking? How could that be? This is God's domain. However, that is truly fast. Before I could get a clear look at him, he was already gone. That person must be an assassin who went full agility with all his speed-increasing skills activated." The players who saw Xueqi running were all shocked by his wind-like speed. He was no slower than a sports car. Ever since Xueqi reached level 10 and equipped his new weapon, the Silver Lake, his battle prowess was at least double that of at level 9. Moreover, after players reached level 10, all attributes increased by 10 points and HP by 100 points. Due to this increase, there was a large gap between level 9 and level 10 players. However, compared to the average level 10 player, Xueqi's attributes were much higher. The Ice Blue Devil Flame alone had greatly increased Xueqi's attributes, not to mention the magic weapon, Abyssal Blade, and the fine gold weapon, Silver Lake. Furthermore, Xueqi possessed the complete Silver Moon set equipment, coupled with a few independent pieces of secret silver equipment. He also had the title, Might of 1,000, currently equipped. Xueqi's strength alone reached 93 points. It was absolutely an unreachable amount to the average player. Moreover, Xueqi's agility had broken through the 100-point threshold, activating the intermediate agility hidden passive skill. Like the wind. It was renowned as a godly skill for battling in the open. With this new passive skill, players' movement speed increased by 15%, attack speed increased by 5%, and the shrubs and brambles of roads and forests would no longer affect him. Simultaneously, consumption of stamina had slightly reduced, greatly improving a player's survivability and ability in battle. Originally, Xueqi needed to travel for about 2 hours to reach Gale Valley. However, with this new passive skill, it took Xueqi less than an hour to arrive. The outer region of Gale Valley was a level 8 area, while its inner regions were level 9. Not only was there a large number of monsters in Gale Valley, but the monsters here also traveled in groups. Without a certain amount of strength, one could only seek death by coming to this place. Right now, only a small minority of players dared come here to level up. The Gale Valley was long and narrow. If over 500 players were present, they could perform an inch-by-inch search as they advanced. However, based on the information Blackie provided, Martial Union had only sent around 200 players. It was not enough to create a perfect encirclement of the area, and it would not be easy for them to locate Blackie and Lonely Snow. Moreover, if these 200 or so players wished to locate Blackie, they would have to spread out and form search parties. In regards to jungle battles such as this, Xueqi had experienced plenty in the past. In his previous life, he had done battle with many second-rate guilds, and even first-rate guilds, in forested areas. Although the players involved numbered in the tens of thousands, he still bloodily massacred his enemies. It could be said that Xueqi was most familiar with these types of battles. For the players who had only recently experienced the evolution of God's domain, however, their experiences of such warfare was nil. As expected, there is a sentry here. Before arriving at the entrance of Gale Valley, Xueqi had altered his appearance. After entering Gale Valley, with his extraordinary 5 senses, Xuefeng immediately discovered the 4 level 6 assassins hidden around the valley's entrance. These assassins were all scouts of martial unions specialized in investigation. They were currently tasked to report back all the players who entered the Gale Valley, determining whether or not said players were here as the enemy's backup. With this information, they could allow their members to prepare beforehand and set up an ambush. Unfortunately, Xuefeng had long since guessed this, hence his alteration of his appearance before entering the Gale Valley. Even if the experts of martial union knew that someone had entered the Gale Valley, they would not know it was Xuefeng. They would only see him as an independent player, here to level up, and they would not be wary of him. Xuefeng paid no heed to these assassins. Instead, he went deeper into the Gale Valley. Based on Xuefeng's strength alone, it would be extremely easy for Xuefeng to kill these 4 level 6 assassins. However, he would not. Doing so would only alert the enemy of his presence. If he caused the members of martial union to become vigilant, he could not achieve the greatest effect when he ambushed them later on. Boss unstable. There's a player entering the Gale Valley. However, he's not the target, Yifeng. One of the assassins on guard at the valley's entrance reported. Got it. You guys stay on guard there. As long as Yifeng enters the Gale Valley, immediately report it to me. Also, remember to tail him, and do not let him discover any of you. As long as you all do a good job, you will be members of the guild's elite team in the future, the player called Unstable commanded seriously. Yes. After finishing his report, the assassin grew extremely excited. He became much more serious as he silently awaited by the entrance for Yifeng. However, he did not know that the person he mentioned had long since entered the Gale Valley. After Xuefeng entered the Gale Valley, he constantly advanced through the treetops. He utilized his heightened vision to observe the surrounding situation, making accurate decisions. Someone's here. Very quickly, Xuefeng detected sounds of battle from the forest a short distance ahead. Moreover, it did not seem like a small battle. Immediately, Xuefeng stealthily closed in on the origin of the sounds, intending to discover more about the situation. If it were only a battle between players and monsters, there would not be so much movement. Moreover, the closer Xuefeng was, the clearer the sounds of metal clashing against metal and the ear-piercing screech of blades and swords interweaving with each other. Could they have discovered Blackie? Xuefeng shook his head, feeling that the possibility was extremely low. Previously, when Blackie contacted him, Blackie stayed in the level 9 inner regions of Gale Valley. Meanwhile, this was the level 8 area of Gale Valley, and there was no way Martial Union had encountered Blackie. When Xuefeng leaped up to one of the trees closest to the scene of the battle, he discovered that it was indeed a conflict between players. Moreover, the battle was very intense. The weaker of the two parties only had 6 players remaining, and they did not even have a healer. Meanwhile, the players bearing the guild emblem of Martial Union were still considerably strong. They had a total of 18 players remaining, with 3 of which were healers. Amongst the healers, 2 were level 7 clerics, while 1 was a level 8 druid. They all wore matching bronze set equipment mixed with a few pieces of mysterious iron equipment. The rest of the players also had relatively good equipment, and the lowest leveled among them was a level 7 player possessing a complete set of bronze equipment. These 18 players were elite members of Martial Union. If they were not elites, they would not possess such levels and equipment. They looked even stronger than the elites Xuefeng had faced off with before. Since when did Martial Union possess so many elites? Xuefeng was slightly puzzled. Logically, Martial Union should have long since been crippled after dying so many times. So, how did so many elites suddenly appear? Moreover, every one of them possessed good equipment, and compared to Martial Union at its peak, they were much stronger. In Red Leaf Town, their power could rival that of a third-rate guild. It was truly an unfathomable situation. Little girl, don't even think of escaping this time. Just obediently wait for your deaths. The commanding team leader from Martial Union sneered as he looked at the female assassin possessing a sexy body. Looking at the hot female assassin, she had an attractive oval face, slender eyebrows, and eyes as clear as water. The girl was very beautiful, like a dazzling pearl or fluorescent jade, and beneath her appearance, she hid a faint lovely tenderness. Aren't you thinking too highly of yourselves? You want me to stay put and let you kill me? Dream on. Even if I die, I'll take you guys with me. The provocative-looking girl glanced at the swordsman team leader, the corners of her lips curling up slightly as she said disdainfully, "Sister Fire Dance, you should leave. Let us hold them off for you. If we continue dragging this on, none of us will get away. Don't forget, we are now red players, and the death penalty is extremely severe. At the very least, we would lose 2 levels and 3 or 4 pieces of equipment," the berserker beside the girl softly suggested. Although the berserker spoke in a very soft tone, Xueqi, who possessed extraordinary 5 senses, managed to hear him clearly. Fire Dance. It was no wonder Xueqi thought that the female assassin looked familiar. It turned out that she was Fire Dance, the female assassin who ranked at number 1 for killing the members of Martial Union. "It seems that I have to lend some help this time." Xueqi faintly smiled as he stood on the branch. Even if he were not familiar with Fire Dance, he would still lend her some help. The reason he came here was to kill everyone from Martial Union, creating rivers of blood. He wanted to teach the players from Martial Union what the rage of an independent player truly meant. At this moment, the swordsman team leader laughed loudly, saying, "Do you think you can still escape? The moment we discovered you, we called for all our comrades to hurry over. We have long since surrounded this place. If you can still manage to escape, I'll eat this great sword of mine." Chapter 137, Monster. "It seems they will bury us here. Our only choice is to carve out a trail of blood," Fire Dance said. After hearing the swordsman team leader from Martial Union speak, Fire Dance's expression turned grim, gritting her teeth slightly. Originally, she intended to come here to kill the members of Martial Union. She did not think that she would fall into Martial Union's trap instead. After killing their way out of the encirclement with much difficulty, these players once more surrounded them. Their chances of escaping were already scant, and if another 20 or so enemies arrived, even that tiny hope of escape would vanish. If she and her teammates died now, with the previous crime value they had accumulated, at the very least, her teammates would each lose 2 levels, while she would lose at least 3 levels in all of her equipment. Such a loss would devastate them, and their team would very likely disband, never to rise again. "Ha ha ha! It's too late to fear now. Originally, we prepared this ambush for that Yifeng, but I never thought you guys would send yourselves to death. From now on, the fine equipment that you guys use will belong to us. Brothers, go. Leave that little girl for me to deal with." The swordsman team leader licked his lips as he spoke, his eyes revealing an undisguised greed as he gazed at Fire Dance's sexy body. Naturally, Xueqi, who was hiding in the forest, heard the entire conversation. Although he knew Martial Union definitely had some hidden plot, it turned out that they planned to set a trap for him all along. Previously, he had stayed inside the forging room, creating equipment. Moreover, he had also altered his outward appearance, making it impossible for Martial Union to find him. Hence, they chose to take action against Blackie and the others, using them to lure him out. At the same time, they would set up a trap and surround him. Unfortunately, although they had prepared for a variety of situations, they missed out on 2 important points. First, Xueqi possessed the demon mask that allowed him to disguise his character's appearance and information easily. Second, they gravely underestimated Xueqi's current strength. "Brothers, follow me and let's kill our way out." At this moment, Fire Dance chose to take the initiative and launched an attack. In the blink of an eye, she rushed towards the spot where the encirclement had the least amount of players. Before the berserker standing there could react, Fire Dance's dagger had already pierced the back of his head, forcing him into a fainted state. Fire Dance immediately followed up with a backstab, assassinate, and eviscerate, instantly removing half of the berserker's HP. The other members of Fire Dance's team also rushed forward with her, breaking through the encirclement. However, just as the several level 7 players fell to critical health, a dazzling white light surrounded their bodies, recovering over half of their total HP. Moreover, those players were not just weaklings. They stubbornly held back the members of Fire Dance's team, not backing down in the slightest. "Mages, go all out. Clerics, cast your shields. Rangers, mark the assassins. Do not let them get away. I don't want to become a laughingstock for the players in Blue Water Town," the swordsman from Martial Union commanded as he similarly charged at Fire Dance. Including herself, Fire Dance's team only had 6 players remaining. Each of them faced off against 2 or 3 enemies. Their enemies also had healers constantly replenishing their health. They had no chance for victory at all. Moreover, with the constant bombardment from the backline mages of Martial Union, Fire Dance lost another 2 of her teammates in the blink of an eye. Is this really it for us? Fire Dance watched her comrades fall in front of her eyes, her heart bleeding at the sight. However, Fire Dance had no time for anger as she faced off against 3 enemies at once. One of the 3 was also the team leader from Martial Union. However, in addition to being outnumbered, she also had to deal with the constant attacks from the mages. As a result, her HP reduced continuously, while a majority of her skills were on cooldown. She could only dodge the incoming attacks to reduce as much damage as possible. Ha ha ha. Little girl, if you wish to blame someone, then blame that Yifeng of yours for standing out. All who go against Martial Union will earn a fatal ending. However, you can be relieved. That Yifeng fellow will sooner or later accompany you as well. Just when the swordsman thought that victory was in his grasp, a black figure silently appeared behind Martial Union's healers. Nobody had even discovered the appearance of this person. Without anybody noticing, 2 sword lights pierced through one of the level 7 clerics, causing damages of -397 and -542, instantly killing him. Only when the cleric died did the second cleric and druid notice an enemy right beside them. Moreover, this new enemy instantly killed one of their comrades. In my. The other cleric attempted to yell out in fright, yet, he suddenly discovered that he was unable to yell out. He did not know when it started, but at this moment, both his abdomen and neck spurted out fresh blood. Moreover, when he turned to look at the druid beside him, he noticed that the druid was in a similar situation. However, neither of them noticed that, in actuality, they had been attacked at the same time as the first cleric. Only, their reactions were slightly delayed, failing to notice their own HPs had already to 0. Staring at each other, they both fell forward, their visions turning a dull gray. That's 3 down. Xueqi's eyes flashed with a cold glint. He then shifted his cold gaze to the mages nearby. Based on Xueqi's current attack power, even if he did not depend on the Ice Blue Devil Flame's damage increase and did not use any of his skills, he could still kill any cloth armor classes of the same level with only 2 strikes from his swords. 2 swords, 6 images. With Xueqi's current attributes, it was an easy feat, and there were burdens when doing so. Moreover, the faster Xueqi's sword slashes were, the greater the damage the Silver Lake could cause. If Xueqi's speed reached its pinnacle, it might even be possible for him to instant kill a cloth armor class with just a single sword strike. In an open battlefield like this, Xueqi was just like a harvester, reaping players' lives. With Xueqi's current attack speed, if other players did not activate their extraordinary state, they could not block Xueqi's attacks at all. Without a doubt, they would instantly die. Meanwhile, the current players able to activate the extraordinary state were usually melee classes, such as the swordsman team leader. Only with it could they possibly have a chance to react and retaliate against Xueqi. However, even then, it was only a possibility. Xueqi then activated Windblade, rushing towards the nearest elementalist of Martial Union. Are you healers dead or what? Don't you even know how to heal? A low HP assassin of Martial Union cursed. However, the assassin's curses received no replies. Seizing the opportunity, Fire Dance, with her accumulated 3-star energy, used Eviscerate to finish off this assassin. The backline mages witnessing this scene all turned to look at the healers behind them, intending to find out what had happened. However, the moment one turned, he immediately discovered a dark shadow sliding across his neck, with another blue shadow piercing through his chest. His HP bar displayed before him rapidly decreased. Soon after, his vision darkened, and his life extinguished. After killing the elementalist, Xueqi turned towards the other mage classes. Leader, there's a monster ambushing us, a summoner at a distance shouted in fright after witnessing this scene. However, before he could even get a clear look at this ambusher, the level 7 elementalist was already dead. Such a scene caused this summoner to have shivers all down his body. Can't you see that I'm busy here? If it's just a monster ambush, don't you know how to deal with it yourselves? The swordsman retorted angrily. At this moment, he still exchanged moves with Fire Dance, and he could not afford a distraction. It's just a monster. Where's the need to report even that? Are you an idiot or what? Hearing no reply from the summoner, The swordsman thought his subordinate turned to deal with the monster. Hence, he focused more on his battle against Fire Dance. In reality, however, the summoner already lay beneath Xueqi's feet. The 3 mages nearby who attempted to escape were dead as well. Meanwhile, Xueqi's name turned a crimson red, as if it would bleed at any time. Currently, only 3 players remained on Fire Dance's team, and all 3 of their HPs were almost gone. Meanwhile, Martial Union still had 9 melee players whose HPs were above 50%. Leader, something's not right. I'm already at half health, but the healers haven't healed me yet, a berserker shouted. Crap, what are you healers doing? Do you not want to play anymore? The swordsman bellowed after discovering the problem as well. However, just after he finished his bellow, he suddenly felt a chill down his back. He hurriedly rolled to a side, dodging. Immediately after, 3 sword images pierced through the space he stood before. The 2 other players in front of him were not as lucky. Both of Xueqi's swords pierced through their backs. Without even knowing the cause of their deaths, both of their bodies fell lifelessly to the ground, their eyes wide open. As the leader, the swordsman was the strongest among the entire team. However, when he saw this scene play out before him, he suddenly felt cold throughout his body. Being able to kill both of his comrades instantly and without using any skills to boot, just how heaven-defying was this person's attack power? Who are you? Why are you acting against us? The team leader gathered up his courage, angrily shouting, Do you know who we are? We are members of Martial Union. If you don't wish to die, leave this place immediately. I can still let you off the hook. However, he suddenly heard the reply whispered from behind him. The ones I'm here to kill are precisely you from Martial Union. The swordsman team leader turned his head, his complexion turning pale instantly. Previously, the mysterious player standing in front of him had, in the blink of an eye, arrived at his back, giving him a cold smile. Before the swordsman team leader could even scream, Xueqi sent a chop at him. The pitch-black abyssal blade pierced through his chest, causing over -700 damage, instantly dropping his HP to 0. Pairing up silent steps and chop, Xueqi had killed off the level 8 swordsman team leader. Meanwhile, Fire Dance, witnessing this scene from a distance, was utterly dumbfounded. This mysterious player had instantly killed the swordsman team leader, whom she had difficulty dealing with. Is this mysterious player truly a player? He can't be a ghost of God's domain, right? After the team leader of Martial Union died, the other members were all fear-stricken. After witnessing Xueqi's extraordinary speed and frightening damage, they all felt unprecedented fear. Is this even a player? He can't be a monster, right? This way of thinking reverberated in the minds of these players, causing them to tremble with fear. Although Fire Dance had good technique, at this moment, she did not dare to make any careless movements. She could only watch in silence, and unknowingly, a streak of sweat rolled down from her forehead. When faced with this mysterious player before her, Fire Dance's instincts were telling her that, if this mysterious player wanted to deal with her, death would be the only outcome for her. Chapter 138. Hidden Expert. Fire Dance's eyes flickered when she saw Xueqi's figure. Aside from the immense pressure that she felt from him, she could also smell the stench of death on him. From the moment Xueqi appeared, she was aware of Xueqi's existence. However, Xueqi's movements and battle techniques were just too quick, to the point where she even questioned her own senses. Only when the team leader died was she shocked out of her daze. From the death of the first cleric to the death of the swordsman, only a short 5 seconds had passed. Every time Xueqi revealed himself, another player fell to the ground, blood spurting from their bodies. Xueqi was like the Grim Reaper, harvesting the lives of Martial Union's members. One could only describe Xueqi's movements as erratic. Xueqi also wore a pitch-black hooded cape that hid his face. In addition, the demon mask hid his name, level, and other information. Aside from his HP bar, there was nothing else to see. It would not be strange even if he received the same treatment as a monster. The only reason Fire Dance knew Xueqi was not a monster was that she had overheard Xueqi speaking to the swordsman team leader in a low tone. However, the fact that Xueqi was not a monster, but instead a player, shocked Fire Dance even more. Just how high were Shifeng's attributes for him to be so strong? Meanwhile, Shifeng felt nothing unexpected about the feats he had just accomplished. The attributes of these players was not even half of his own. Virtual reality games were just that cruel. Although the gap of attributes between each level was small, when accumulated to a certain degree, the gap in total strength would be massive. Quick! Escape! That's a monster. I'm not fighting anymore, that monster is just too scary. Although they knew that this was just a virtual reality, the remaining 5 players from Martial Union were still utterly afraid, their hearts beating madly. Their team leader, the strongest amongst them, died in an instant. He wasn't even able to retaliate in the slightest. This was no longer a monster that players could handle. Immediately, every one of them fled, intending to meet up with the others hurrying over. Only then could they have peace of mind. It's too late to escape now. Shifeng activated Windwalk, and like an arrow, his body shot forth, instantly catching up to the first assassin. In a fright, that assassin attempted to turn his body to block Shifeng's attack. Unfortunately for him, Shifeng's attack speed was just too fast. With a wave of the abyssal blade, 3 sword images landed upon the assassin's vital points. Without even managing to block a single sword image, the assassin died. When the several other escaping players saw that an assassin, a class widely known for their agility, fell without even being able to defend, immense fear permeated their minds. They poured more into their effort to escape. However, it was futile as the distance between them and Shifeng only grew shorter and shorter. Meanwhile, the abyssal blade was like the scythe of the Grim Reaper already placed around their necks. Shifeng needed only a slight tug, and their lives would be forfeit, right then and there. Within a moment, with an absolute difference of speed, Shifeng very quickly killed the 5 escaping players. He then started tidying up the loot. These Martial Union players all wore pretty nice armor. A majority of them were all fully equipped with bronze equipment, and some even had a few pieces of mysterious iron equipment. However, the equipment was all just level 4 or level 5 equipment. Meanwhile, they each dropped at least 1 piece of equipment after death. 18 players meant 18 pieces of level 4 to level 5 bronze equipment. If Shifeng sold it all, he could make a small fortune. While Shifeng picked up the drops, Fire Dance, standing at a distance, held her delicate hand over her madly beating heart. Slightly calming her emotions, she picked up the courage to walk toward Shifeng, saying in gratitude, "I am called Fire Dance. Thank you for saving us." Originally, Fire Dance despaired, having prepared for her death. Only, she never imagined that someone would suddenly appear. Moreover, that someone massacred the players from Martial Union. Everything that happened was like a dream. Although Fire Dance also worried that the mysterious man before her would suddenly go berserk, killing her and her teammates as well to steal their equipment, based on the man's previous actions, Fire Dance knew that the mysterious man before her did not mean them any harm. Otherwise, he would have already taken their lives along with the swordsmen of Martial Union. You don't have to thank me. To begin with, these people originally set up this trap for me. You guys should hurry and leave. This place is very dangerous right now, and the other members of Martial Union should be arriving very soon, Shifeng softly said as he picked up the dropped equipment. He had only saved Fire Dance and her companions in passing. He could also take the chance to thank Fire Dance for working so hard, killing the members of Martial Union. Fire Dance suddenly blanked at Shifeng's words, staring at him with her big watery eyes. Her heartbeat accelerated further, feeling like it was too good to be true. You're Yifeng? Fire Dance asked in disbelief. The reason she came to the Gale Valley was that she had heard that Martial Union intended to deal with Yifeng's teammates. Hence, she thought of coming to lend some help, and just maybe, she might even get to meet Yifeng himself. It was truly unbelievable how fate could toy with a person's life. Originally, she thought of offering Yifeng aid, yet in the end, Yifeng had saved her. Was this fate? Thinking up to this point, a faint blush added to Fire Dance's snow-white cheeks. She felt that she was overthinking, and she was unclear as to why she would have such a thought. That's right. I am Yifeng. How did you know who I am? Shifeng looked at the excited Fire Dance, puzzled. He was sure he was not acquainted with this beauty standing in front of him. However, seeing Fire Dance's expression, it would seem that she was somehow familiar with him. Meanwhile, the berserker Water Buffalo, was tongue-tied after hearing Shifeng admit that he was indeed Fire Dance's idol, Yifeng. An incomparable fanaticism appeared in his eyes. Previously, he felt Shifeng was not all that powerful, and that he was only an expert over-exaggerated by others. Now he was utterly convinced. Sure enough, there was nothing false about Shifeng's famous reputation. Shifeng could solo the elite team from Martial Union that even they could not deal with. In the past, even if others hyped it all over the place, he would still have not believed any of it. Now, however, aside from shock, admiration for Yifeng filled his being. It was no wonder why Yifeng was Fire Dance's idol. Big brother Yifeng, you don't know this, but in reality, Sister Fire Dance is your. Before Water Buffalo could finish speaking, he received a kick from Fire Dance. He grimaced from the pain, but when he looked at the expression in Fire Dance's eyes that seemed able to eat a person whole, he immediately chose to cover his mouth, not uttering a single word. Is my what? Shifeng was puzzled. It's nothing. Water Buffalo is just having an epileptic fit. Big brother Yifeng, won't you leave with us? Fire Dance slightly shook her head. She then worriedly said, this time, Martial Union has sent over 200 men here. They have long since surrounded this entire area. There are also several powerful level 9 experts, and all of them are wearing sets of mysterious iron equipment. They killed many of our teammates. If they surround us, we will have no chance of escaping at all. Big brother Yifeng, it is not too late to escape. If we wait any longer, we'll lose the chance. If it weren't for those experts, her team would not have incurred such huge losses. Level 9 experts, is it? Shifeng was slightly shocked. The current level 9 players in Red Leaf Town were experts at the pinnacle. Now, however, several level 9 hidden experts suddenly appeared here. Moreover, they were all Martial Union's men. However, so what if they were level 9 experts? Since they wished to deal with him, he would receive every one of them. It just so happened that he could use them to test his sword. You guys should hurry up and leave. I'll stay here and take a look at these experts. Chapter 139. Unstable Devastation. After he finished speaking, Shifeng snuck into the forest. Sister Fire Dance, what do we do now? Do we leave? Water Buffalo asked. Fire Dance rolled her eyes at Water Buffalo. She looked towards the direction Shifeng departed, saying, Brother Yifeng is the one who saved our lives. Of course we have to help. Although Fire Dance believed in Yifeng's strength, she had personally witnessed how powerful those other players were. If they surrounded Yifeng, he might end up in a very dangerous situation. If something occurred, a little help from her might allow Shifeng to escape. Immediately, the two snuck into the forest as well, following Yifeng. In the deeper regions of the dense forest, among the overgrown shrubs, level 8 shadow leopards hid in the shadows. At this moment, a 50-man team from Martial Union currently cleared away the shadow leopards in their path while they pushed forward. Brother Unstable, won't we waste time if we go after that little girl called Fire Dance instead of continuing our search for Yifeng's teammates? Iron's Word Lion asked, disgruntled. His eyebrows scrunched up tightly as he looked towards the center of the team at the handsome youth humming a song with overflowing interest. The humming youth was around the age of 27 or 28, and he was indeed the brother Unstable who Iron's Word Lion called out to. He was also the vice leader of Martial Union, Unstable Devastation. Be it status or strength, Unstable Devastation far surpasses Iron's Word Lion, and even Iron's Word Lion had to refer to him as brother respectfully. Iron's Word, you are still such a simple person. It is no wonder that brat Yifeng toyed with you. You even entangled the guild in this huge mess. Thanks to you, Martial Union's reputation has suffered, utterly tarnished. Do you understand that? Unstable Devastation suddenly halted his steps. He looked towards Iron's Word Lion, growling angrily. If I had not discovered this so soon, Martial Union might have had no place in Red Leaf Town by now. Iron's Word Lion lowered his head in silence. Your poor management has already destroyed Red Leaf Town's Martial Union. Right now, in order to help clean up this mess of yours, I have no choice but to transfer all of the elites from the other 3 towns to Red Leaf Town to redeem our reputation. Yet you still have the gall to speak up? Unstable Devastation reprimanded Ironsword Lion in front of everyone else, not leaving Ironsword Lion any face. Ironsword Lion flushed red with anger. However, he did not dare reply, only enduring in silence. The other leaders from the 3 towns sneered at this sight. Every time Martial Union switched to a new game, the guild's hierarchy also reshuffled. In the past, Ironsword Lion was always able to go wild, but not this time. Currently, Ironsword Lion was only level 8, while they were all level 9. Moreover, the guild's development in their respective towns progressed fairly well, and they managed to recruit many newcomers with valuable potential. Compared to the current state of the guild branch in Red Leaf Town, with only a few weaklings remaining, their branches were stronger by leaps and bounds. Ironsword, do you truly think that, after I have spent so much effort cornering Yifeng's teammates, I would let 2 of them escape? You should know that Yifeng is our main target. His teammates are simply lures. If all his teammates died here, do you think he will still show? We have already confined his teammates within Gale Valley, so we have achieved our initial goal. Right now, what we ought to do is to take revenge, and show the players in the town what the consequences are for challenging Martial Union. Meanwhile, that little girl is the best option as an example. She has killed so many of our people. Many players are bound to pay attention to her. As long as we kill her back to level 0, Martial Union's reputation will definitely recover to its peak. If we manage to kill Yifeng, then Martial Union can also use this chance to leap through the threshold of a third-rate guild. Unstable Devastation had long since possessed a plan of his own. Ironsword Lion had always been one of the guild leader's most trusted aides. Many of the elders in the guild also supported the guild leader. If Unstable wished to become guild leader, he needed to increase both his influence and fame. Meanwhile, Yifeng was a player with a certain amount of fame within White River City. He was a publicly acknowledged swordsman expert, and his fame even far exceeded that of the guild leader, Nameless Pride. Hence, Yifeng was his best choice. As long as he could kill Yifeng and upload the recording, he would instantly become an apex expert, famous throughout White River City. Moreover, it would allow the guild branch in Red Leaf Town to rise back up to prominence. When that time came, the elders in the guild would side with him, and the day he became the guild leader of Martial Union would only be around the corner. Yifeng, you will become my stepping stone, Unstable Devastation proudly said with a laugh. He did not believe that an independent player could survive once surrounded by so many. Only, even until now, Xueqi had yet to show himself, annoying unstable. Just as Martial Union slowly advanced, Xueqi, traversing through the treetops, discovered Unstable Devastation and the others. After some silent observation, he discovered that these players were all elites. The lowest amongst them was level 7, and a majority of them were level 8. There were also 4 players who had reached level 9. They all wore mysterious iron equipment, and the weakest of their weapons was also mysterious iron rank. Meanwhile, the handsome youth leading these players wore a secret silver-ranked longbow across his back. Isn't that Unstable Devastation? Xueqi immediately recognized the bow-carrying youth. In Xuefeng's previous life, he had clashed many times with Unstable Devastation. Unstable Devastation was a cunning and cruel individual. His battle prowess ranked within the top 5 throughout all of Martial Union. Compared to Ironsword Lion, he was much stronger. Xueqi was also familiar with the other 3 level 9 players. They were all experts comparable to Ironsword Lion, and they were all branch leaders in other towns. No wonder Martial Union suddenly has so many players. It turns out that they've called over the elites from 3 of the towns nearby. Xueqi came to a realization. These 3 level 9 branch leaders were very strong. Only, in Xuefeng's previous life, Ironsword Lion had managed to obtain the pass to Blackwing City, allowing him a lead against the others. He then gradually widened the gap, finally becoming the guild leader of Mini Martial Union. However, the tracks of history had already changed. In this life, not only had Xueqi killed Ironsword Lion twice, but he also obtained the Blackwing City pass that Ironsword Lion possessed. Ironsword Lion's life was fated to end in a tragedy, and he naturally was much weaker than the other 3 branch leaders. If it were during the previous life, if Xueqi met any one of these leaders, he would have had to proceed with extreme caution. If he met 2 of them together, he would definitely need to avoid them. Now, however, although all 5 of them were together, Xuefeng had no intentions of leaving. The situation was different this time. Not only did Xuefeng possess a magic weapon, but he had also obtained the Ice Blue Devil Flame and many other pieces of equipment that were top tier at this stage of the game. He also had the advantage of levels. So, he naturally possessed the confidence to battle. Even if he couldn't win against them, he could still escape them. At this moment, Unstable Devastation had yet to learn that one of his elite teams had been wiped out. That was because players needed to wait 10 minutes before reviving at the graveyard. Within 30 minutes of revival, players could not transmit any information or communication. Hence, Unstable Devastation and the others did not know that Xuefeng had arrived. They were not cautious in the least, and it was a perfect chance for Xuefeng to launch and ambush them. Hence, Xuefeng continued to follow his target's unhurried advancement. While they traveled, the team maintained impressive positioning. Their healers stayed in the middle, while Unstable Devastation and the other experts walked beside them. Moreover, the players in the center of the formation only watched the players at the front battle, with no intentions of killing the monsters themselves. This way, it would be difficult for even a top-tier assassin to attack the healers. Meanwhile, the players in the outer layer would not move further than 15 yards from the center. If something unexpected occurred, they could immediately lend aid. Xuefeng did not seek a frontal confrontation. Instead, he would take advantage of his speed to slowly chip at the outer layer of this team. Soon after, Xuefeng silently closed in on them. Within a short moment, the players of Martial Union met with a group of Shadow Leopards. An extremely ferocious level 8 chieftain-ranked Shadow Leopard King led the small leap of Shadow Leopards. Xuefeng felt that this was his chance. He crept closer to the team, hiding in a bush and waiting. Time passed, bit by bit. The guards around the Shadow Leopard King were all dead, and the king was the only one left. The players of Martial Union grew very excited. Seeing as good equipment was about to drop, they all became much more serious and focused on the battle. They remained completely unaware of Xuefeng, already positioned on the tree above their heads. Make sure to dodge its skills. Don't let its claws land on you. As for everyone else, hold off as many strikes as you can. Healers, go all out with your heals. Unstable Devastation was also excited. Immediately, the speed at which the arrows fired from his bow accelerated. Unstable Devastation did not think that his luck would be so good as to allow him to meet a level 8 chieftain. This kind of field chieftain would not just drop a single piece of equipment, but would normally drop several. Based on the Shadow Leopard King's level, at the very least, it would drop level 7 or level 8 secret silver equipment and possibly fine gold equipment. Mysterious iron equipment was considered high quality at this stage of the game. In the entire Martial Union, the total amount of secret silver equipment they possessed was no more than 10 pieces. It was obvious just how precious they were. Meanwhile, the Shadow Leopard King before them had the possibility of dropping fine gold equipment. Compared to secret silver equipment, it was much rarer, and its attributes were much higher. Currently, not a single person in Martial Union possessed a piece of fine gold equipment. Not to mention Martial Union, even those third-rate guilds did not possess a single piece of fine gold equipment. Only second-rate guilds or higher possibly owned such an item. However, only the guild leader or vice leader would have access, while elite members could only look at it. It would be impossible for them to obtain it, as it would be the symbol of a guild status. If they could obtain 1 or 2 pieces of fine gold equipment, killing Xuefeng would be a small matter. As the Shadow Leopard King was a chieftain rank monster, the other branch leaders and Ironsword Lion also participated in the battle, both sides engaging in intense combat. Shadow Leopard King, chieftain rank. Level 8. HP 40, 000/40, 000. A casual pouncing attack from the Shadow Leopard King could easily end a player's life, while a single swipe of its tail could obliterate more than half the HP of a group of players. When it struck with its sharp claws, if an MT did not defend properly, they would instantly die. If the Shadow Leopard King roared, it could force back the enemies within an 8-yard radius, forcing them into a fainted state for 3 seconds. In addition, the Shadow Leopard King was quite nimble and had extremely high defense. As a result, the casualties and fatalities on Martial Union's side were relatively high. Meanwhile, the damage Martial Union inflicted was limited. The strongest player among them, Unstable Devastation, could only cause -40 to -50 damage to it, while the others could only manage slightly over -10 damage. Fortunately, there were plenty of players on Martial Union's side. With a total of 50 players surrounding the Shadow Leopard King, they managed to shave off a lot of the monster's HP. The Shadow Leopard King's HP steadily fell, and when its HP was about to reach 50%, Xueqi immediately used Phantom Kill. Controlling his doppelganger to circle the group, Xueqi prepared his doppelganger to ambush the mage classes and healers. Chapter 140. Shadow Leopard King. The Shadow Leopard King was a level 8 chieftain-ranked monster. As long as its HP fell below 50%, it would enter a berserk state. Both its attack power and attack speed would then increase by 20%, and even an MT geared with a full set of level 5 set equipment could hold it off. Guardian Knights, pay attention to cast Protection Blessing on the Shield Warriors. Shield Warriors, prepare to activate Shield Wall at any time. As long as we can endure its berserk period, we will be victorious. Unstable Devastation knew about the berserk state. Hence, he hurriedly gave commands as he saw the Shadow Leopard King's HP reaching 50%. Protection Blessing could reduce the damage an ally received by 50%. A Shield Warrior's Shield Wall could also reduce damage by 50%. With both effects stacked, the Shield Warrior would only receive 25% of the total damage. Even if the Shadow Leopard King went berserk, the Shield Warrior could hold it off completely. Finally, the Shadow Leopard King's HP dropped below the 50% threshold. "Ayo!" The Shadow Leopard King bellowed, its body abruptly expanding. Everything was within Unstable Devastation's grasp. Just as he was about to reveal a victorious smile, the situation suddenly changed. At this moment, the Shadow Leopard King summoned 2 more level 8 elite-ranked Shadow Leopards, each of them possessing 3000 HP. The 2 new arrivals roared as they abruptly pounced, arriving behind the healers on the backline. Before any of these healers could react, the 2 Shadow Leopards pinned them to the ground. Shift focus. Get rid of these 2 elite Shadow Leopards first. Unstable Devastation's expression turned grim. Just after he finished speaking, the elite Shadow Leopards annihilated 2 of their healers. However, the level 9 branch leaders were not to be trifled with. Just after the 2 elite Shadow Leopards killed the healers, they moved into position to fend off the attacks of these 2 monsters, preventing the damage from extending any further. However, with the loss of 2 healers, the pressure the core MT faced greatly increased. Even with Protection Blessing and Shield Wall, every attack he received from the Shadow Leopard King exceeded over -300 points. On the other hand, his own HP did not even exceed 1200 points. Moreover, the attack speed of the Shadow Leopard King was very quick. If it were not for him constantly dodging its attacks, he might have long since died already. Just with the Shadow Leopard King going berserk, Martial Union had lost over 5 players in the blink of an eye. The Shadow Leopard King's tail swipe took out 3 melee players. All 3 were instantly thrown and died while in mid-air. Hold on for a little longer. Its berserk period will be over soon. Watching his team members die, one after another, Unstable Devastation became very depressed and annoyed. The players he had brought with him were all elites, and every death was a huge loss to Martial Union. Fortunately, they could revive these players, greatly reducing the lost EXP. However, as long as they could kill the Shadow Leopard King, all of the losses would be worth it. Just when everyone from Martial Union thought the situation had stabilized, Xueqi's doppelganger used Wind Blade, arriving behind a Cursemancer. The Cursemancer had completely concentrated on the Shadow Leopard King, chanting incantations. He paid no attention to the surrounding situation at all. Due to all of Gale Valley falling under Martial Union's control, the risk of an ambush was non-existent. Hence, the Cursemancer was very much at ease. However, such a way of thinking was a big mistake. After the doppelganger's sword pierced through the Cursemancer's back, it then followed up with a chop to the Cursemancer's head. The doppelganger followed up with another normal attack. Although the doppelganger only possessed 50% of the original body's attributes, just 50% of Xueqi's attributes was terrifying. It could compare to a level 10 swordsman geared with a complete set of level 10 bronze set equipment. Moreover, the doppelganger's target Cursemancer was only level 7, wearing only level 4 and 5 bronze equipment. The difference between them was like the difference between heaven and earth. In the blink of an eye, 3 damages of -189, -468, and -266 appeared above the Cursmancer's head. Shifeng's doppelganger instantly killed the Cursmancer, whose HP was less than 700 points. The Cursmancer's death quickly alerted the other mage classes. "Someone's kill stealing," an elementalist shouted, startled. The surrounding mages all felt a heavy pressure weighing down on them. This intruder finished off a level 7 Cursmancer in just 3 moves. If this mysterious swordsman closed in on them, only death awaited. Without delay, Shifeng's doppelganger used Thundering Flash. 3 streaks of lightning arced towards the nearest 4 mages, immediately sending all 4 of them into a fright. Among them, 2 elementalists instantly reacted, using Blink to dodge the lightning. Meanwhile, the Cursmancer, who did not possess Blink, threw himself to the ground, barely avoiding the attack. However, the last of the 4 mages, the Summoner, was not as fortunate. As he was closest to the attack, even though he too attempted to dodge, he was late by a breath. Without a hint of suspense, the level 5 Thunderflash instantly fried him to a crisp. Although the doppelganger only managed to kill a Summoner, a smile appeared on its face. The goal of this Thundering Flash was not to kill someone but to open a path. At this moment, there were no obstructions between Shifeng's doppelganger and Martial Union's healers. The doppelganger activated Windwalk, dashing over. As long as it killed 1 or 2 more healers, Martial Union's entire team would fall into a huge predicament. Don't even think about killing the healers. At this moment, Ironsword Lion used Windblade and rushed to block the doppelganger. The swords from both parties collided, and as they attacked, they maintained their extraordinary states, battling with 4 sword images each. The doppelganger could not help but halt its momentum, forced to block the attacks. After exchanging several moves, Ironsword Lion was incomparably shocked. He felt that the swordsman, whose information displayed as unknown, facing him was a powerhouse. This mysterious swordsman actually blocked all of his attacks. Moreover, every time their swords collided, Ironsword Lion could feel an immense weight bearing down on him, causing both his arms to go numb. Occasionally, there were even few sudden stabs aimed at his vitals, forcing him to activate Defensive Blade to block. Ironsword, it seems that you have truly fallen. You can't even get rid of an average player trying to kill steel. A level 9 berserker geared in silver-gray battle armor snidely remarked. Crap. 5 rats, you come try, if you have the ability. Originally, he was already greatly aggrieved due to the constant pressure from Shifeng's doppelganger, and his HP constantly fell. Now that he received jeers on top of it, he immediately enraged. Since you want me to join, then I'll join. The level 9 berserker, 5 rats, used Charge at Shifeng's doppelganger. Charge carried with it a fainted effect. Moreover, the surrounding mages were already in the midst of chanting incantations for their spells, sending fireballs and frost arrows at the doppelganger. The doppelganger activated Defensive Blade. It dodged the incoming magical attacks while it gradually closed in on Martial Union's healers. The level 2 Defensive Blade aided the doppelganger in mitigating the damage from the attacks it received. However, 5 rats followed up his charge with a break, greatly reducing the doppelganger's speed. You 3, get rid of him. Unstable Devastation commanded the 3 assassins, pointing. He did not have the time to think about an idiot who was attempting to kill stealing a team with around 40 players remaining. After receiving the command, their assassins immediately rushed at Shifeng's doppelganger. Receiving the focused fire of over a dozen players, although the doppelganger managed to dodge a majority of the attacks, it still received a relatively significant amount of damage. The doppelganger's HP continuously fell, and within a moment, only 30% remained. Ha ha ha! I didn't think that it would be a fat fish with brain problems. Judging on the exchanges made and damage caused, 5 rats determined that this mysterious swordsman's equipment was exceptional. As long as he could kill the swordsman, he would definitely drop a lot of good equipment. The reason 5 rats thought so was that a single normal attack from the mysterious swordsman dealt him around -100 damage. Meanwhile, his normal attacks also chipped away 100 of the swordsman's HP. However, the problem lay in the fact that the mysterious swordsman used a one-handed sword, while he used a two-handed sword. In God's domain, a two-handed weapon's attack power was much higher than that of a one-handed weapon, and the damage a two-handed weapon caused was normally around twice that of a one-handed weapon. Due to the strong power stored within a two-handed weapon, every attack from the weapon could cause a devastating amount of damage. Meanwhile, the damage a one-handed weapon could cause was much less. However, its attack speed was much quicker. As a result, the average amount of damage dealt by both weapons, in the long run, was about the same. However, 5 rats had only managed to deal -100 damage to the mysterious swordsman. It showed just how good the mysterious swordsman's equipment was. Unfortunately, it is still too little. It would be great if they could send more people over. In the distance, hidden within a bush, Xueqi was slightly depressed as he saw that a dozen or so players attacked his doppelganger. He bitterly thought, forget it. I shouldn't be too greedy. I should reel in the net now. Abruptly, Xueqi's doppelganger burst with power. It suddenly leaped into the air. The abyssal blade in the doppelganger's hand then started to emit flames and thunder, immediately releasing a blast of elements towards the most crowded location. You're tuning in to the Xueqi's Martial Arts Saga YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.